go.
All right, welcome to the DadPod. This is Aaron, one of your hosts, and I got my other host.
Yeah, Rene.
Yeah,
and
today we have Matt Sumpter as our guest.
Sumpter.
Yes.
And and our podcast is brought to you by Ice Designs Houston. Go check out Ice Designs Houston on Instagram. Hit them up, and they will provide you with your ice needs.
Yeah, especially like sculpting and things like that.
Sculpting.
If you want to have like a really cool ice sculpture.
Ice bars,
martini luge.
Martini luges, all those
I had
kind
to
of
look
things.
that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, your favorite team logo, kids' birthday parties, weddings. It's going to be corporate events.
Super Bowl's coming up, not that far away. You might want to make your Super Bowl party just that extra special step.
Absolutely.
Just call up Ice Designs Houston, and they'll hit you up with a real nice sculpture made of ice.
Yeah. All right, that was good enough, I think. That ad.
Yeah.
Is that good?
I think it's well worth it.
Okay, we don't need to do it again.
Nah.
Okay, cool. All right. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Rene. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, man. Welcome to our DadPod episode.
Appreciate
Yeah, glad you could join us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. It's cool. All short notice. Yeah. So Matt Sumpter is a fellow dad, and what's cool about him is that he's a fellow dad with a baby girl, right?
That's right. I am currently, as my shirt says, a girl dad.
Girl dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Working on boy dad. Boy dad soon to be. Is there a shirt that has both of them? I've seen the boy dad ones.
Oh yeah.
Is there like a just dad shirt, like this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Boy. There's boy moms. I know that's a thing.
For sure.
Boy,
Yeah.
I know a couple boy moms that call themselves boy moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a boy dad. I've got two boys, so.
Yeah.
The girl dad thing really got popular because of Kobe, right? Because he was like, I'm a girl dad.
Oh, yeah,
that sounds
'cause-
about
That
with his
interview-
Because
daughters,
people would like ask him all the time, like,
Yeah.
"Are you sad that you never had a boy that could play basketball like you?" And he's like, "No, I'm not sad. I'm a girl dad. I love being a girl
Yeah.
dad."
Yeah. No, I think it's been really great. Like, I grew up with all brothers, so it's like I didn't really. I knew people who only had girls, and to the extent that you can learn how to be a dad without being a dad. I had no clue what a girl dad was like. But no, it's been. I'm sure you can relate.
Oh.
It's just been totally awesome. Just absolutely love her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To be honest, like when we found out we were pregnant, I really wanted a boy, like
Oh, really?
badly, like as anybody would, right? I mean, most guys want a boy.
I think it's fairly natural for a guy to want a boy.
Yeah.
At least one boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife really wanted a girl, but I'll tell you, when we found out we were having a girl, I was really excited, very very excited, and I love it. And so now that if we get pregnant again, I would be rooting for another girl.
Really.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I would if I
Actively rooting for a girl, not like
Yeah.
I'd be happy for a girl.
No. Like I
Okay,
think it'd be cool to have 2 girls, maybe even 3 girls. My grandpa had 3 girls.
Go for it,
and
man.
I was always like, man, he never had any like sons, But I think I was his first male grandchild.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, down the line something will happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But this whole like, I only wanted a boy thing is. Once
Just
you
melts
have
away.
One, yeah, oh yeah. It's like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
she's a beautiful little girl. She's so
Yeah.
cute. She loves me. Like I was telling, before, yeah, she loves me way more than she loves my wife. And I'm, but I think if I had a son, he would love my wife way more than we would be butting heads, and I don't know.
I mean, not initially, but I totally see like down the road, it leaves that open for
Yeah.
kind of relationship.
I feel like before I felt more prepared to be a parent to a male, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had no idea what it would be like to be a parent to like a female, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a dad to a girl.
Yeah.
It's just so that dynamic is just scary.
Yeah.
You hear horror stories and all kinds of stuff.
I think it unlocks a different part of like your personality. Like you have to be more in tune with like I think especially a lot like if your daughter. Like my daughter, I think, has a lot of the attributes of my wife, which I really enjoy. But it's like you have to like kind of treat her in a different way than a boy. Being a boy dad, you're just like, come on, kid, get away.
Yeah.
Whereas the girl's like, hey, baby, come here.
You have to be a lot more delicate, a little nicer.
Yeah. Which I think is the proper because I think looking long term, it's like you want your daughter to see in you kind of the way she should be treated if she's heading towards marriage, things like that.
Right,
Yeah.
Where for boys, it's more like, hey, it's time to be a man, son. Like you're gonna be the man.
Yeah.
Well, and the other, it's funny that you say you wanted a boy so bad. When we had our first kid, I was just kind of like, I've always wanted like at least one of both.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first one, I was like, man, I don't really care. I just, want a healthy baby.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, although it was funny because Chelsea really wanted a girl, and like when we did the gender reveal and everything, yeah, we popped the cannons, and it's like on video, and she's like, "Oh man," you can see her saying. But
so you guys didn't know beforehand?
No, we did a gender reveal.
Okay.
Yeah, for that one.
It was revealed to you too.
Yeah.
Because like when we did it, we knew already.
So for that one, we didn't know.
Okay,
We didn't know beforehand. The only people who knew were her sisters. But then with Chandler, like Chelsea didn't really like not knowing and her sisters knowing, so she's like, I'm knowing this time and nobody else is. So that time.
Okay.
But so the second kid though, I was kind of like pulling for a girl because I was like, we had a boy, so let's have a girl now, but another boy. So it's all good,
So number 3.
Yeah, we're gonna go for a third,
there
but
you go for a third? Yeah.
We'll probably wait a little while.
It's the first command in the Bible is be fruitful and multiply.
And the other thing is, if we would have had just 2, and it was a boy and a girl, I'd probably be happy with that. But in a way, I feel like my wife kind of won because she's always like wanted more kids.
Really? So you
and
just wanted one?
the only way I would go with 3 is if I didn't have opposite
one
genders.
Yeah.
So it's like she's probably thinking like, yeah, we're getting to have 3. Because in her ideal world, she'd be like, just wanting a big family. But I'm like, I mean, you're a teacher. I'm like a pastor, or right now, just not making like huge money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's not really realistic, but it would be. I mean, it's a cool thing.
Hey, what an opportunity for faith, right? Let God provide.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up with a family in my neighborhood, and Dad was, I think he was in the Air Force. I forget what he was in the Air Force. They had, at the time, I knew them 10 kids. Mom didn't work, anything like that. And I'm always like, looking back now, I'm like, how did they do that? Like,
wow, 10 kids.
10 kids. Yeah, they had.
Wow.
It was like one girl, then like 8 straight boys, and then like another girl.
The girl's the oldest?
Yeah, the girl was the oldest and the youngest,
wow.
and then it was like all boys in the middle.
That's
and it was,
crazy.
and they had tons of animals, and like I can go to all the stories there, but like they were a real great family, but like well run. And it was just like looking back now, it's like wow, I applaud them. Like you guys, you go. Like,
well, and once you have
down.
that many, like. I'm sure that the older ones start taking care of the younger ones.
Yeah.
Like,
there was definitely an element of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. The older ones take up like responsibility and stuff. Kind of like that show Shameless. You ever see that show?
No, I hadn't seen that.
It's
one.
like the oldest girl is like runs everything, and the dad's kind of like out and crazy. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, he's like the drunk or whatever. But
excellent father figure.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't recommend that show, but just it exists.
It exists.
It exists.
It's all right. I mean, it had a couple good seasons. It gets old like every show. I think long gone are the days where a TV show's like 10 years, 20-something episodes a season.
Walking Dead, right?
I mean,
it's
been terrible for like 5 years.
I hadn't watched it.
Well, usually any show, there's just a small number of shows that can even do that and maintain the quality.
Yeah.
And I feel like it almost has to be a comedy because once you keep like a
storyline
going for that long, like a comedy sitcom.
Yeah.
Because anything that you keep a storyline going for that long,
That's
it
tough.
gets too convoluted and it doesn't have like a nice like clean story arc.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, because you open up a lot of not plot holes where it's like divergent storylines, and it's like you forget to clean them up, and then people are like, "Hey, you remember that thing 3 seasons ago?" Like
a lot of loose ends. Yeah.
And the story it just falls under the weight of itself. Yeah. Which I feel like I don't know personally. I feel like the strategy nowadays for a lot of is let's just do a really long movie and then chop it up into episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I like that though. I like a 6-hour
it's
It
cool.
works,
movie.
It works most of the time. It works.
Yeah, I was listening to the guy. He did the Hurt Locker. He was on Rogan, and he was talking about his new show on like Apple or something like that.
Oh, Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner.
No. It was the guy. No, I'm sorry. The guy who produced or directed the Hurt Locker, and then he did a new show. It's called Echo 3, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
A military show. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of military stuff. But he's talking about like how it's totally different when like versus filming a movie versus filming these new things. He's like, with the movie thing, it's like, people going to the movies. You've got their attention. They paid the money. They bought the popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting in the seat. Nowadays, he's like, people are watching on their phones, and you've got to make sure you keep their attention. Otherwise, they're out.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're Amazon just invested $1 billion in the Lord of the Rings series, and people are dropping off. It's like Bezos is gonna be upset with you.
Yeah.
Like, you better get this in order. And so it was just real interesting about like how series have changed because of how people take them. Like how many TV shows are you watching versus streaming it at your convenience? Like I mean personally, like we don't really watch TV until maybe we go to bed. It's not really. Growing up is totally different. It's like, hey, let's get dinner and let's sit
Watch
down.
TV,
But it's not really there anymore. You know.
Dude, do you find I watch YouTube more than I watch TV
For series?
No,
Or just
no.
like
just like
just
videos?
for entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I watch I like to watch there are a couple channels that I like the film shows like
reviews?
new rock stars. You ever
Oh, no, I'm
you ever
not
watch that
familiar
channel?
with
Oh yeah,
New
I've
Rock
seen
Stars?
them. Yeah.
I love that. Every time they drop a Marvel movie, the guy's like talking about it. That
He's like a British guy, right?
spends like I think so. I don't know. Maybe Canadian. I don't know.
I watched a lot of the Marvel stuff too. Like what's
Marvel
the
stuff.
Emergency Awesome? That guy.
Oh yeah.
He does
So they're just like reviewing Marvel stuff and
no, he
commenting
does
on
like
it?
he does like a lot of Like he finds all the Easter eggs.
Yeah,
in
they break it down. When the film comes out, they review it. They talk about
when
it.
a trailer drops, they like break
Yeah.
down the trailer.
There's
So
like Easter eggs and stuff.
What do you guys think of the current state of Marvel? I mean, compare back to let's say 2011 Marvel when the first ones are coming out and you're like, wow, it's amazing.
Okay, well,
Compared to now, like what's your guys' take? Like, I mean, you've aged, they've aged. What's the?
so back then you didn't know where it was going, and the Avenger movie was exciting, even though I didn't care for Thor. So like the Thor movie was pretty weak when it came out.
Thor 1?
Yeah, Thor 1.
You didn't think it
didn't
was
care
that?
for it. Didn't care for it. Captain America, it was cool.
Yeah.
I just didn't like that it was like a period piece. I wanted something,
I thought it was that was one of the cool parts of it, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You can definitely argue that it was necessary, and you needed to see that part for a storyline to see the whole character
The
arc.
origin stuff,
like,
yeah.
but looking back on it, I appreciated it more. But at the time, I was like, oh, this is weird.
I want to watch World War II.
Yeah,
maybe. What is
well,
this?
yeah, and the good one was Iron Man. I
Oh,
loved
yeah,
Iron
the first
Man.
Iron Man was still one of the best.
That was before
ones.
they were really considering it to be like an expanded universe. It was like
Well,
a standalone.
That
movie,
was
right?
like
Yeah,
so.
that-
Basically, that movie. I don't know if you guys know like that much history behind Marvel, but Marvel Comics, like, was doing really bad like in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so they sold a lot of their content off to different studios. That's why you had like the Sony Spider-Man movies, the Fox X-Men movies.
Yeah.
The Fantastic
And so
Four.
then
it's all spread out.
they had like one shot to kind of make their own thing. And they made, and I forget who it was at the time, maybe Paramount.
Oh,
I think-
yeah.
I
think it was. Yeah.
It was Paramount at the time that was like, all right, Marvel Studios, they're going to make their own movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, if this movie doesn't do well, then it's kind of like their last shot. And they knew that if it did well, maybe they could make a few more movies. So that's kind of why they put that post-credit scene at the end of it. But man, that's still maybe one of the best movies, in my opinion. It's probably top 5, maybe.
Like top 5,
But
in the
it's
MCU.
definitely top 10, and
In the
you could
MCU.
argue top 5 in the MCU.
Oh yeah. It might be top 3.
But I think what happened is there was so much hype behind the first phase, leading up to the Avengers, and they did such a good job of tying them together and like keeping that bait there.
Yeah.
And that there's a lot of nostalgia for those now. When like as a whole, I don't know if that phase like is as strong as people remember it as.
It was just because that was the freshest, the first one. You're like, oh,
It's exciting. The team up
And they did
Yeah.
a great job of like tying them together and
Yeah.
leading them to like the culmination. The problem with this newest phase, the biggest problem I feel like is they don't really tie together at all. And so like you don't have that kind of like Easter egg, or not really, it's almost like a carrot that they're leading people along to the next movie. You don't have that carrot to chase after.
There really is nothing to combine.
And
anything.
maybe the other thing is like maybe they'll do that in the next phase, and you'll be like, oh, that's how all that stuff ties together. But right now it's like you can't really tell what they're doing, and there's so much like content that the quality has kind of suffered a little bit compared to like the last few phases. Because here's what happened: like we have the nostalgia for phase 1, so those are like considered awesome.
Yeah.
They're good, but maybe they aren't as good as we remember them. And then the phases after that, like I feel like ever since like what's the movie? Winter Soldier came out.
Captain America 2.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's been like hit after hit. Like they really have not. There's been a couple maybe that were kind of like meh, but mostly.
I think Winter Soldier was the one of the first movies right after Avengers, right?
The first movie after Avengers was Thor 2, which Thor 2 was kind of a flop.
Yeah, that was
Thor 2.
You liked Thor 2? I think there were good parts in it.
It's funny because like my buddy, Steven, you met Steven.
Yeah.
He's a big Marvel guy, and I've seen all the Thor movies except for Thor 3, Ragnarok. And he's like, "How can you not watch the third one? It's like the greatest." And I was like, "I don't know, I just missed it." And I'm like, "I really enjoyed the second one though." And of course, it's generally
the
canned.
terrible one. Yeah.
I was like, I said, these dark elves, they make a lot of sense. They're kind of just to mess with them. I mean, it's a fine movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for those particular movies and most movies in general, if you go into it with kind of an idea of what you're looking to expect, that like, what should I get from this movie? And it's like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be entertained for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for deep moral philosophy.
Well, and here's the other thing that
like,
that I have to like. There's a lot of people who like they just think like every Marvel movie that's come out since Infinity War and Endgame is just trash. There's a lot of people who have that opinion. But there's two problems with that. Number one, like those movies were awesome. So just trying to like measure up to that is a tough bill to follow, you know? And number two, the way I look at it is I'm like, well, you don't understand like how good we have it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
it could be all the DC movies.
We got spoiled.
Well, not only the DC movies, but think about like back in like
sorry, DC.
Back in like the 2000s, you had the Spider-Man movies, which those were pretty cool, but like you got one movie maybe every like 4 years.
Was that the Andrew Garfield ones?
The Tobey Maguire ones.
Maguire.
That was 2010s? Okay.
2000s. Like
2000s. So, yeah, the first Spider-Man was like 2002, the second one was like 04, and then the one was 06. So it was like every couple years.
And then, maybe you got an X-Men movie every now and then, but the X-Men movies, one would be awesome and then another one would suck. It was kind of like hit.
And then they reset the whole timeline. They're like, forget all that.
So, like, when you consider that, and then they would come out with like trash Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, if you look at what we had back then compared to now, you just got to realize how blessed you are to be like what a time to be alive, right?
You get a couple a year of like.
And the other thing is, there's so much content that if there's something you don't like, because none of it ties together, you can just not watch it and you're fine.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, to be entirely honest, I mean, I haven't watched like really any. I mean, we don't have Disney Plus. We don't do. I haven't watched a Marvel movie in a while, so it's like I don't feel like. I mean, you get the feeling from. I don't watch the YouTube ones, but it's like you at least get the feeling of how the story's progressing. Like, okay, we're trying to bring up the new guard of. I don't even know who the new guard is, but like I guess we're kind of. Well, I guess they killed Iron Man, so
they all have like proteges now.
Yeah,
like even the Hulk recently with his son. Like,
Hulk has a son.
Hulk has a son.
Okay, I'm way out of this. Okay,
yeah.
Well,
with who?
They didn't really get into those details.
I think his name is Scar or something like that.
Scar.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is he green?
Yeah, he's a Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that works, but
Hawkeye had a whole TV show last year where he's training a new girl who's a Hawkeye. I
think I had heard about this one because it's like she had zero training and then out of nowhere she's already better than him, and it's like
she was she was like a karate black belt, did a bunch of archery before.
Okay,
so she had some training.
When she was a kid, when she was a kid, she saw the attack in New York. Right?
Like she lived in New York.
From the first Avengers, and she saw Hawkeye doing crazy stuff, and she was like inspired by him.
Yeah.
So she just became really good at archery or whatever.
and martial arts and stuff.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It's a cool show.
A lot of people didn't like that show, but I thought it was pretty good. I think the problem is that like some of those, and I think that Marvel is trying to correct some of it, but because there's so much stuff and they're trying to make them all TV shows.
Yeah.
Some of them like don't do as much as a movie, or they like move way slower.
Yeah.
Or maybe they put more fluff in it that they didn't really need to, just because they're trying to make a show.
Yeah, I wonder how like the financial breakdown of like TV shows, because I mean, I guess it's only on Disney Plus, right? Are there ads on Disney Plus?
No.
So
I think they talked about making an ad tier, but
$10 or something like that.
Yeah.
8 to 10
I do wonder how like the break, like, does Disney prefer the movies because then they get $1 billion versus a show? Like, how many people does it take to make that. I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the TV show is not specific to the show returning that money. I mean, they see the views.
I think what their thought was, like, the first TV show that was on Disney Plus was The Mandalorian, which is like a huge hit for Disney Plus.
I like that.
And tons of people subscribed just to watch that.
Yeah.
And so I think Marvel's kind of thought was, well, let's do that. But the problem is, they try to do like all these shows, and so some of them might have been close to that level, but like some of them just weren't. And the other thing that they did too, like this last year, they released like 2 what they called like Marvel Studios like special events or something.
Like
and so it's not a TV show. It's just like, it's almost like a movie, but it's like an hour and a half, so it's like a real short movie.
Okay.
But they did Werewolf by Night, which was like,
the werewolf one's awesome.
Which was like it was like a Halloween special. Mm-hmm. And then they did Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
That's right. That's great.
And they were both awesome. And so a lot of people are thinking like, there's a lot of stuff they've scheduled to be shows that they may change to be that kind of thing. Yeah. Which that's good, because a lot of the stuff, they end up like trying to find more content and like stretching the story out, and like you could probably like do it in shorter time. So let's just spend less money, still tell a really cool story, make it like a special, and you can do like lesser known characters that maybe aren't big enough to have a movie. And
the stars are less expensive.
Yeah, I think that's where the thing starts to cave
in. And like with the Guardians of the Galaxy one, I'm pretty sure they just added a little bit of filming to the
end of a movie
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie.
It was Drax and Mantis the whole movie.
It was really awesome. It was a cool special. Yeah. So
I guess the dad question is, when do you start introducing that, or have you already introduced this to the children? You know, like when, what level does Disney start becoming a part of?
Disney or Marvel?
What do you mean? Like
I mean, are you already doing Disney Plus right now for kids? Or?
Oh yeah, that's like all I do.
Our last episode we talked about Bluey.
Dude, is that Disney Plus?
That's on Disney Plus.
I've watched
it's a Disney show.
Not The Godfather. I watched like Goodfellas with my daughter. Dude.
Well, I remember you saying you couldn't watch Goodfellas anymore.
Well, I was, and then I was.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Yeah. So I guess.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Look, we're on. So I guess going forward, like, you know, when do you go through the old catalog? Like, have you thought through this? Like, you know, we're gonna go through the catalog of Disney.
So
please enlighten me.
Okay, so my daughter was born. I think the first movie we watched was Remember the Titans. It's a Disney movie.
Like how close to birth are we talking?
We're like
that night we come back.
Days.
You're like, we watched it in the hospital.
Listen, we're gonna remember the night we watched the Titans.
No, yeah, the Titans, and then
Gary.
Gosh. There were so many movies I just had to, like the Goofy movie. I love the
the
Goofy
that one's solid.
Talk about a movie, like a good movie with like a good father figure who was goofy. You know what I mean?
That's the one they go on the trip, right?
Yeah.
Not the X
Games.
Games.
Go on the trips. The X Games was a sequel.
Honestly, I watched the X Games one
I haven't seen
a
that
few months
one
back
in a while.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And it's not bad. Like, it's not as good as the first one, but I was expecting it to be terrible because it was like the sequel that nobody knew about, and it was not.
I definitely watched that one more than the first one. To be totally honest.
The first one is unbelievably great.
Oh yeah.
Every step of the way, you're like, you feel so bad for Max because he's just been getting embarrassed the whole time. But it's such a sweet movie, and Goofy's a good dad.
Did Riley like that one?
Right now, Riley likes Fancy Nancy. You ever seen that show?
No,
Fancy
but I've
Nancy?
heard the books. I've heard of the books.
Fancy Nancy.
Oh, I haven't heard that either.
Bluey. I mean, Bluey's. We could do.
No, I heard the Bluey is like 10-minute episode or something like that.
Yeah, it's 7-8 minute episodes.
Oh, right,
without the credits. Yeah.
Without the credits.
Yeah, no, they're great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Bluey's cool. Cohen's like he's like big into like music. Like he likes songs.
Yeah.
So like he's really any of the Disney movies that have like music in them. So which people might think is like girly or whatever, but I don't care. He likes to sing. So
dude,
but he likes the Frozen movies. He likes Encanto.
Yeah.
He likes Tangled.
Tangled's underrated.
Tangled is
in my opinion. Yeah.
I think so. Like, we do listen to a lot of music. Remy, I think the only movie she's ever seen, we just watched it. What was it? The Polar Express. We watched it over like 5 nights or so, maybe like 10 minutes at a time, 20 minutes at a time, something like that. I mean, we don't typically do like TV time or anything like that. I think she's seen more Astros baseball than anything else. To be entirely honest with you, but like music. I agree. She's real big into music. You know, she likes to dance to the music and stuff. So I mean, she's heard some of these, and she's got some like like bath toys that are from Moana or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
He likes Moana.
Oh,
too.
Moana! I love Moana.
Oh yeah,
Dude.
no, great movie. Yeah, so yeah, I just we don't have a firm date about when are we going to introduce movies and stuff like that. But I was just wondering what you guys think like in terms of like the catalog, because I personally think it's a step when you go from the Goofy movie to Remember the Titans, all the way up to some of the Marvel more actiony movies. So I didn't know if you guys had thought through like we're going to introduce less cartoony, comical. It just
didn't think anything through. I think the second day she was alive, we were watching UFC, and it was.
Remy likes some UFC.
Yeah,
my girl's gonna be jiu-jitsu. She's got a good leg lock.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. Like she'll throw up a triangle on me when I'm like trying to change her. I'm like,
so
what are you doing?
So I think at 2 you can put them in jiu-jitsu class, like 2 or 3.
I mean it's not that old.
It's not that old at all. Wow. That's a good idea. It's
and the muscle density they have right now. Like have you tried like folding your child, like make them sit up?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they can just like
trying to get him in the car seat.
How are you so strong? Like what is going on? I feel like they should be so. I mean, usually they've got like noodle arms, right? But in the second they have any desire to not move or to move a certain way, it's like, how are you this strong? I mean, you've been arm wrestling? Like, what are you doing?
No, you really see how strong they are if you try to wipe her nose. I don't know if your kid lets you wipe. They'll rip it away.
Yeah,
it's impossible, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, I need help when I wipe her nose.
I hear some friends of ours from church. They said they were working on teaching their daughter how to wipe her own nose.
Oh, really?
She likes to wipe her nose, and then she'll go wipe theirs with the same.
That'd be super helpful.
Yeah, we've been working on trash, and so we'll be like, "Hey, Remy, that's trash," and you gotta put that in the trash can. So she'll grab it and run over to the trash can and open it, throw it in. You just gotta be careful because then a lot of things turn into trash.
Ooh.
And it's no, that's not trash.
That's the remote control.
That's mom's phone. Like, let's not put that away. It's like, hey, where'd that go? It's like, check the trash can.
That's funny.
Oh man, so you have like a whole is it like a philosophy or just purposefully not in?
Yeah, no, we definitely discussed like it's not like anti-electronics or things like that, but it's definitely a controlled dosage. I think at least from the way we view a lot of society today, there's a lot of lack of I don't know even what the word is, but like we just don't want to build a dependence. And it's not a thing against like people who watch Blu-ray. I'm not like, what are you guys doing? But it's just we found like what else. Let's see how we can take this, because it's going to be so available. I mean, just from like when we were growing up to like now. I mean, just the absolute prevalence of tablets and internet and things like that. It's going to be there, and it's like, okay, there's no need to rush into it. Let's see if we can develop with things like she loves to read books, and it's like that's something that it's tougher, we feel, to develop later on. If it's like, I want to watch the entire Marvel suite of movies. It's gonna be tough. So I mean, it's just a little bit of intentionality and like seeing, we don't want to use this as crowd control. Although we will. I mean, absolutely. I think, something we do is like if we're doing her hair or something, in order to help their process, is we'll put on, there's a little YouTube series. That's the one thing I think she regularly likes. It's like children's music. It's called Miss Rachel.
Miss Rachel?
Yeah, Cohen likes that.
Which one's Miss Rachel? Is she the one that does like sign language and stuff?
It's like a bit of a speech pathology
she does
type.
Okay.
She does some signs, and so that's something we wanted to work on with Remy is her signs, and so she's up to like 3 signs combining stuff.
But
like
she's
that.
like it's kind of like Dora, where she like talks to the kids.
It's a talk and response kind of deal. Yeah, and so that's like the only thing that she regularly, and when I say regularly, I'm talking like every other day for 10
minutes. And that has a lot of music on it too.
And that's basically all we watch is the music parts, because it's like for example, right now it's Old MacDonald. She's like, we're going through the animals, and it's like, okay, what animal is that say? Which is hilarious. The way the kids pick up on like what does the cow say? And she'll go like, it's like, where'd you get that from? Like, nobody is saying that.
The funniest thing is like Cohen started doing this thing now where instead of saying the animal's name, he'll just say the sound that it makes.
Okay, yeah.
So he calls dogs woof woof.
Remy does that. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
And then he'll see like tonight when I was doing bedtime, and I'm like, I had to put like a shirt that I folded of his in the drawer, and I was like, all right, Cohen, pick out a book while I put this shirt away. And he picks out a book, and he has like this little we have this little like Bible stories book, you know. That's the one he picked out, and I'm reading like the Noah one.
Good choice.
And there's an elephant in it, and he points to the elephant, and he goes, he like tries to make the elephant noise, and it was so funny. But like it is funny how like they do that kind of thing where he used to say like he'll say the name of the animal sometimes, but most of the time he goes for the sound.
How's his sheep? And we have to emphasize the p every time we say it.
Yeah.
I hear my daughter around going, "Oh, sheep!" Wait, what?
Yeah, it's
Lacey. What you been saying to her?
I don't know. I think it's okay. He does the ba, but the other we had this. We still have the book, but like you know those books like. He'll rip out pages, so we have like all four books.
Man, I feel so bad.
But we had this book that was like, it was like doors that would open. So like,
like a
it would
texture
say
thing?
like who says ba or whatever, and then you'd open it up, and it would be like a sheep. But he ripped out all
the flap books. Yeah,
all the flaps. So and that's where it says the name of the animal is on the flap, and they're all ripped out, every single page.
The knowledge has been lost.
So it's like, and he used to love that book, but I'm like, you ruined the fun. It's not funny.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for those animal books. Those. Oh man.
But yeah, the books are a cool thing. But yeah, Miss Rachel is like. The music is what he like. He sings all the songs with it. I mean, he doesn't really get all the words, but you can tell he's trying to sing with it. And he, the funniest thing is he'll just say like E-I-E-I-O, like he'll ask that like when he wants to listen to a song.
McDonald's?
But that's for every song. Like if he just wants you to turn on a song, he'll just say E-I-E-I-O.
Oh, every song is E-I-E-I-O.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh, yeah, Riley. She likes to play. Well, so for Christmas we got her this crawl around car, which is it's basically a car that sits on the floor, and she can open the door, get in.
Nice.
There's like a little key, like an ignition.
Yes.
She turns it, and it like makes the starting engine sounds, and then you push buttons on the dashboard, and there's all kinds of different songs and things. She loves that thing. I mean, and we got the idea because at her daycare, there's a crawl around car at daycare, and our daycare has this thing where we can watch her on video. Like 24/7, like we can watch her whenever we want.
No Fight Club here. Yeah.
Well, we can watch her, and she's at the crawl around car the whole time, and she like kind of protects it. Like any other kid comes
maybe
around,
there is a Fight Club.
She'll close the door, and she just like she loves that thing, and she dances all the time because it plays songs and stuff. Yeah. So we got her that for Christmas, and it's just been awesome.
That's awesome.
Just watching her do that, and then we also got her this little tricycle thing, where we don't do like really the stroller as much anymore. Okay. She gets in a little tricycle that you can push.
Yeah,
you know those?
Yeah. It's got the little thing on the back you can push her around.
And you control the tricycle. She does it though, but you know, you push her around, and we go do our neighborhood walks with that. So
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, but
that's cool.
Yeah, with daycare, it's been interesting. We had to switch daycares just because we needed like one a little closer to home and things like that. So, do you guys do daycare or anything?
Not at this time. No. Yeah. Lacey, she works part time at home. But generally, it's a little bit because she's part of a Mothers of Preschoolers or MOPS at our church, and so that's every other Wednesday, I think. So there's like a little bit of daycare kind of mixed in through the church at that kind of point. But at this point, no daycare yet. We'll see how it goes with number 2 on the way.
Yeah. You're thinking about doing daycare with them?
Oh, we've talked about there's like Mother's Day Out programs.
Okay.
At different, mostly churches. I think we've looked at, and it's kind of just like a for the afternoon or
2 days or something.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure if you guys have already started thinking about like preschooling and schooling and stuff like that, but it's kind of like an introductory to kind of how do we, what is early education kind of going to look like. It comes by so quick, man. It's just like
I'm already a year in, man. I just started.
I
just started.
I'm just figuring out how to keep them alive.
Yeah. Oh man. We did bath time now, and she doesn't need the little mini tub. She just in the whole tub. Yeah.
Yep.
That's so new.
Yeah, Cohen's favorite thing now is he wants to take a bath with baby. He used to call Chandler baby, but he's gotten lazy lately and he just says B. He calls him B. So he's like, bath? B? Whenever he wants to take a bath with.
Sure.
So like Chandler's still in like the the little chair inside the bathtub, so he'll like sit next to him in there, and it's really funny. But it's kind of like, all right, don't pour water on his face, please. Yeah. Or don't splash around too much. So.
Oh yeah, man, Remy does that to herself. Like she's got like buckets and stuff, and she'll just be like, it's like splash herself. It's like
I remember when I was a kid, anytime I got water in my eyes, I was like freaking out and wiping my eyes, and she just poured it right on her face.
Let it rain.
Didn't matter. Yeah.
Cool. Good deal.
It's just so different. Yeah. So different than me.
Oh man, what a fun time. Yeah, I mean, bath time. Like, it's cool to see like how she picked. Like now she's to the point. It's like, hey, we're gonna go get bath time. So she'll run and go grab a towel. And she'll start pulling her shirt off or whatever.
Really?
It's like it's just so funny how they get into these routines. It's just like
yeah, Cohen's lazy. He doesn't take any of his clothes off. He's like, all right. Yeah. We're trying to get him to, because like, I mean, I don't know what. I think you're supposed to potty train like around 2-ish.
You can start. I think they recommend between 2 to 3 to start.
But like, I'm like, he doesn't even take his own pants off yet. He says that he wants to. He says that he'll be like, pee, potty, like he'll say that he wants to. But I'm like, dude, if you can't take off your own pants, you can't pee in the toilet. You gotta learn how to do that first.
Yeah. Baby steps.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, I mean,
so, I mean, I try to help him, but I can't do that every time, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Oh man.
Oh, man. So you're having a boy or a girl?
We're having a boy. Yep. So we want one of each. Looking forward to it. You know, I think like as you mentioned kind of at the beginning, like I feel like a lot of guys naturally. I had to really kind of temper it, right? Because it's like I firmly believe children are from God and for God, and it's not really like. I mean, but selfishly, it's like, man, yeah, I want a boy. It's like, so like my dad, he has all granddaughters right now, and it's like, yeah, I'd really like to have at least one boy to carry on the name, It's like, so yeah, I mean, selfishly, it's like, yeah, I want that, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be different. I think
100% can be different, yeah.
Oh yeah, but I just like in terms of I think when your child's born, you kind of have that vision of what is this child gonna be like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? And so it's like it's for me at least totally different. The boy path versus the girl path, and I think both are super awesome in their own right. Mm-hmm. But just I get particularly pumped about boys because it's like we could be raising somebody else's dad or husband or something like that, just the same as you could be raising wives and mothers. I don't know if I can contribute the same type of influence into my daughter's life that I could maybe to a son, because it's just the experience is totally different. Now I'm totally there, fully support for her for everything, but it's just there's kind of a gap at some point where it's like, hey, I don't experience this and I can't really teach you this or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like for a son, it's like hey, I've walked this path and here's the things I'd love for you to avoid. Here's the things I think you should do more of, things like that. So I'm pretty pumped. I like there's a lot of I don't even know what the type of social media stuff is, but there's a lot of things about, being the super dad kind of thing, for especially for boys. It's like raising up. I feel like, especially in our culture today, there's a lack of strong male father figures, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, just been really into, I was pumped to be a dad in general, but I think even for a son, it's like, hey, you have an opportunity to raise another generation of strong male father figures. And so, I mean, it just gets you like, man, I want to go.
Think about it like you want to raise a man who would make a good father, a good husband.
Yeah. I mean, for sure want to raise a daughter that's a great mom and wife if that's what God calls her to be. But I think it's as a father, it goes to a different level raising a son, which I think you can have multiple boys now. It's like, I mean, this is the generations to come, and I think God has set this in motion, and it's like, you are supposed to be the father figure that, kind of leads them along in this path. And it's I was reading some like psychology studies, and it talks about like how like 85% of your child's personality is developed by age 6 or something like that. And with fathers, it's like they're most needed at the early stage. You typically think like, oh, you need the father figure at teenage years, right? Yeah, but it's like if you're waiting until then to step in as a good father, you've already missed like the biggest gap of most important development time. So it's just been a very definitely encouraging, but also like it's definitely the weight on the shoulders. Like, yeah, we gotta get this done. I gotta be number one is following Christ in all things, but then also being a great husband as best as I can. As I'm sure you could tell, us having multiple children changes the math radically. So just kind of preparing for that. It's like, okay, I want my children to see me following Christ and loving their mom, my wife. We actually at church we just did a group of guys on Monday nights. We did a program called Better Man, and a big part of it was focused on there's it's 12-week program I think, but it really focused in on part of you being a great dad. It has to kind of go back up the chain, right? But it's just talking about the great, how awesome it is that we got this opportunity, And so I think I can't be more pumped. It's just like, let's do this. Like, it's like, I've seen within my own dad and as well as other dads, like these great aspects. There's no perfect dad, but I think, like when you're talking to me about the podcast, like, think about good guys in film and media and stuff. It's like you can grab aspects from those father figures and say, oh yeah, I really like that. And so I was thinking when I had my daughter, I was like, who are some good girl dads and what did I learn from them, right? And so I would say like it would be the sensitivity, and I would not describe myself as a sensitive person or in tune with my emotions. I wouldn't, to be entirely honest. But it's like for my daughter, it's like it's like, and I should try to be in tune with her emotions, and it's also that goes back again to the wife. It's like I need to be more
caring.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just all around better improvement. And then for having a son, it's like, hey, I need to be ready to teach him how to change a tire and be, and a lot of the stuff I've always is talking about, like, be prepared, especially for your sons, to teach them utility. There's a big YouTube account, it's called Dad How Do I? Have you seen this?
Oh, I heard about it.
I don't think so.
And it's like a single dad, I think, and his daughter was always asking him how to like change a light bulb or clean out the whatever, and so he started this YouTube channel, and I remember it just took off, like millions overnight.
There's so many young men without a dad, and they look at it.
Where do I learn how to interact with life?
I never had anybody teach me that. And it's a big thing for me because like that's me. I grew up with without knowing my biological dad for a long time. I was already 12 before I even like met him. And so that was hard. Definitely relate to that for sure.
Yeah, and you can turn that into motivation now for your own family, right?
Yeah. It's like no, dude, I gotta be there. I gotta like my motivation is. I mean, just to be spending time with her, do random stuff. Take her everywhere. I take her everywhere.
Yeah.
I love holding her and taking her and experiencing things and going on for walks with the dogs. And those are the best times right now. And she's only one, so. Right now, like, we're trying to walk everywhere. Like, walk down the street. Let's walk here and walk at the park. And
just to see their reactions to everything. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Just and I want her to be, like, kind of more social, like get along with people. So that's a big part of, daycare. She's going to be ready for school, and she's got a lot of little cousins and a lot of friends her age. And that we just try to set up like play dates with, especially like people, kids in my family. Awesome. And the older kids love taking care of her and things like that. And it's just so cool just to see her experience jumping off a ledge without fear, knowing that I'm there to pick her up. It's terrifying, but it's also like I appreciate.
Is she a climber?
I appreciate. Oh, big time.
Oh, Remy's a huge climber.
Yeah, like on the diaper changing table, she'll just like sit on the ledge like Spider-Man.
Yep.
And about to jump. And I'm like, oh my god, don't do it.
Today, Remy, she has one of those. I don't know if you know. It's called like a toddler tower. It's like this little ledge you can step up to be up to
one
the.
Of those.
Yeah, and so she.
Is that that thing you got in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the kitchen. Up to where you can get up to the counter basically.
Right.
And so she pulled over one of the bar stools up to her toddler tower, and she like positioned it in a way so she could like start climbing. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? You're like halfway up on the counter already. Scary. And it's just so funny. Like the stuff she like, I can see it in her eyes.
That's like a sign that she's like a problem solver when she's like.
I feel like that. Yeah.
Learning how to crawl over obstacles and playpens and chinks in the armor of any kind of enclosure.
Yeah, Cohen did that. I think it was right around the time that Chandler was born. Like he started it was right before Chandler was born. He started pulling himself onto the counter from it because he's like kind of tall for his age, so he's able to do that. And then when we were at the hospital, like my parents stayed with him with Cohen, so my dad like lowered it so that he couldn't do that anymore. But now he's figured out like he can put his legs up. There's like these little things on the side,
like handles or something like he can pick it up with.
Yeah, and he can put his like one foot on each one and get up high enough to where he can start. And I'm like, man, dude, you getting yourself into trouble. So like he loves to stand on it, but we got to watch him like a hawk because he'll be up on. We have it on on the side of the island, so you can't really go a lot of places once he's on the island. But still, it's like the island's pretty tall and it's tile, so please don't jump off.
Please. I think a good thing is like early on when she was learning how to walk, she learned how to fall. Like she's just fall on your butt.
Oh, okay.
You know, fall on her butt. You know, she got these. She just started doing shoes. She hates shoes. Does your kid like shoes?
She loves shoes. She loves putting shoes on.
Well, there was a while where Cohen hated them, but now he's cool with them.
Yeah,
so she puts our shoes on.
She hated shoes. She just like, oh, get this thing on. And if she's in the car seat, she'll rip them off. Yeah. There'll be some like under the seat somewhere by the time I get to wherever I'm going, and she'll use them as like she chews on stuff because she's teething and stuff, and so yeah. But she looked like a little. Like a baby deer when she was wearing shoes. She's just so awkward, the stepping and stuff. Funny, yeah. Yeah, but oh gosh, man, it's killing me. You're starting all over again with a boy. That's so exciting.
It really is. So exciting. It really is. I mean, I think we learned a lot about how do we handle different things, right? But of course, it's be totally different. And now you also have one that I think that's once you add one on top of the other one, I think it changes the entire.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's like. I almost feel like I know that I was already a dad before, but it's like a whole nother level of dadhood. It seems like with the second one, like it really takes so much more like attention and stuff, and it's like, but it's great at the same time. And I think the other thing is like, it's pretty rough like right now while they're still small, because they're both so young still. But I think as time goes by, like once they get a little bit older,
less dependent,
it'll be nice because they'll like be close enough to play together and things like that. So
was that something you guys were targeting? Because I know that's something we had talked about or like I specifically said to Lacey, I was like, I would prefer not to have to like get back into diapers after getting out of diaper, like going back and forth. Like it'd be nice to have age close enough to where it's like, because I feel like that's a skill, like I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like you get in a groove, man. You're like, I can change a diaper in the dark now. It's like, and so it's like if I wait 2-3 years after potty training, and we're like, man, how do I do this? Like, I feel like you got to relearn it, and it's like, or even I don't know about you guys, like how your sleep schedules are, but like I feel like your body gets accustomed to whatever the sleep schedule you put it under for long periods of time. So it's like. I mean, Ruby sleeps pretty well, but it's like getting up early. That's her thing right now is getting up early, and so it's like I'm always like, man, as soon as I'm up, I'm like, boom, let's do this. Like it's time to go.
So she gets up early.
She does, yeah. So she was sleeping until 7, but then the time change happened, so now it's at 6, and it's kind of been like, some days she'll get up a little bit early.
It's not too bad though.
No, it's not. But like if she wakes up, like there's been days when it's like she wakes up at like 3.
Oh, that's happened with Cohen.
And it's like too. I don't want to go back to sleep because it's like they've been sleeping for however many hours, and it's like, well, why would I go back to bed?
Yeah, 3 is like the worst time because it's like
too close. Yeah, it's like what do I do? So like I just go chill with you in your room, I guess. Like because like we and a shout out to Taking Care of Babies, as last episode talked about. We also were doing Taking Care of Babies. Really enjoyed it, and it's it's a big thing about not getting them out of the crib kind of thing.
I suck at that.
Well, I mean, it has its advantages, to certain things. I mean, no method is perfect for every child. It's like I'm not going to respond well to it whatsoever, and it's not like we never get ever. I mean, it's like of course we are. There's definitely cases, but yeah. So it is tough. That time period of the morning is like, like, are you gonna go back to bed or like, how is this gonna work? And I always think, at the time, like, man, is she gonna make it? One of my first thoughts is she gonna make it to her nap? Like, how is this going to work? Is this going to screw the whole day up? Like, because she only does one nap right now, and it's usually around, 12 or so. It's like, man, that's 9 hours from now. Like, I don't know if she can go that long. But it typically works out anyways. And I don't know about you guys. Well, I heard you only do this 4 times ever, so you may not have. But, like, I find it good for me personally on, like, a spiritual level for, like, time to, like, meditate and be thankful for what I think your initial reaction would be like, man, I hate being up. But then I think about, I'm like, hey, God, I appreciate you having this family in my life and being able to do this.
Yeah, that's
and
a good
so
perspective.
I've found like that makes those early mornings a little better. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe I get a little bit extra time. I can reflect on what I should be reflecting on in terms of what God might have for me today. So I appreciate that about. I mean, that's totally Holy Spirit. That's not me and my selfish because I'm like, man, I want to go back to bed. Like I gotta work here. Like this is not cool at all. Remy, what are we doing? But I appreciate. I think there's a lot of things about fatherhood in that way that I would not naturally think. I mean, stuff like there's a lot. I think in a good dad of like sacrifice, like you're talking about, like going for a walk. You know, maybe that's not what you really want to do. Like I'd much rather be watching the game or going to wherever, or hanging up with the bros or whatever. But it's like I feel like there's even more, not validation, but like more value to doing this with the family. And I think I appreciate the opportunity to be able to sacrifice that time and be with the family in such a way. I think it's just like, man, what a great thing. Like almost like God knew what he was doing when he set up these families. It's like, you know, this is kind of a good thing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like, you know, just purpose in life. I think a lot of people, you know, going back to people needing father figures, people need purpose. And it's like, I think for men, young men, it's like, this is probably one of the best things to civilize us and get us ready into kind of a good mindset of building these next generations. I don't remember where I was at, but we were talking about how fatherhood is raising up gifts for a time you're never going to see. And it's like, you know, it's preparing this time you have no part in, but you can
like
kind of
planting seeds in a garden you'll never get to see.
But
like
Hamilton. It's planting trees that you'll never sit under their shade, I think is the phrase, from that. And it's just like, it's totally true. And it's like, again, I find that motivating to be like, I want to be the best dad. And not just dad, but also man possible. I don't know if you guys listen to Dr. Jordan Peterson, but you did? Okay. So, but he talks about being a monster, right? And it's like being virtuous of having the capacity to be monstrous and yet withholding of that. And it's like, it's like, I don't know. I don't. Maybe that's your guys' thought on this, but it's like, you know, my first thought to thinking of, like when I first showed up, we were talking about, you know, Riggs defending the house and stuff. My first thought, because this happened the other night. The night the Astros won the World Series, we had a. That's so silly. You know, the Astros win the World Series. It's like 10:30 or so. So I get a notification at the door that, hey, somebody's at the door. I'm like, what is going on? So I check it, and all I see is a guy, and he's got his flashlight out. And he's checking my door, and he's looking in my cars and stuff. I'm like, dude, this guy's about to break in the house. And so my first thought is like, it's on, dude. Like, we're about to do this, you know? And so, but I was thinking about it. It was a Walmart delivery. I'm like, why are you delivering?
Walmart delivery?
It was Walmart delivery. And like, we had ordered it earlier that day, too. So it's like same day delivery at like 10:30 at night for some shoes. And it's like, bro, like, maybe wait till tomorrow. Like,
or what's with the flashlight? Just throw it at the door.
I think he was looking for the house number. That's how I was. I was like, bro, you almost got smoked. Because again, I don't know what about his mannerisms, but it's like when he comes up with a flashlight, it's like the house number's not right there, man. Like, what are you looking at my car for?
Was he holding it like this?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
He's not like
no.
overhanded. You're ready to just like clock somebody with the back end of it. At that stage.
So it was like, but then I got to thinking about, it's like, you know. That's part of Dr. Peterson talks about being monstrous, being ready to, like, hey, I'm gonna defend my family, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm not in danger. It's like, bro, my daughter's sleeping in a room pretty close to that, like we're about to go. But then I also think about, like, you know, is it more virtuous to be like, oh, you know, actually, I'd rather just talk to him and make sure we. It's like, I don't know, like, at what point. So you asking about like father figures in media, and one of the ones, first one I thought was have you guys seen The Patriot?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Monster.
Right.
So,
but is his monstrous actions good? Like, in a sense, from like a biblical sense, like, is it right for him to do what he did? I'm like, I think yes.
I think look,
I think so.
What's great about that movie is you could see what happens when you're both.
He's restrained most of it.
At the very beginning, when is it Thomas? I think it was Thomas.
Yeah, that's the second son.
The one that dies at the very beginning.
Spoiler.
He's so like, oh, we're okay. Please don't hurt my family.
Because like the oldest boy's there, and he's like holding them all back, like, stay back.
And he's trying to protect the older son, right?
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, like if he did something, he would die, right?
Yeah.
So it was just so crazy.
He knew.
The hatchet wielding part was crazy.
Well, because that's right after he grabs the other two boys, which are like
10-year-old little boys.
Yeah. He's like, hey, let's go, boys.
Like aim small, miss small, right?
Yeah, aim small, miss small, man. Yeah.
You see that movie, dude?
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I've seen it.
Man, I used to be able to quote it. My little brother, that was like his favorite movie. We'd watch it all the time.
It's such a great movie.
But yeah, it's I had to think, because the reason I was saying was it correct was one of the other movies I thought I would not guess have seen this movie. It's called Into the Spear. I'm not sure if you probably never even heard of it. It's a very small movie. It's about this guy Jim Elliot, and him and 5 other men were missionaries to like a tribe in Ecuador. And basically the premise is that it was a very violent tribe, and they were trying to establish contact with them, and they ended up getting killed. Trying to,
I think I heard about this. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, true story, wonderful story, and the movie is kind of told from the perspective of one of the guys who killed him, or was in part of the party, and kind of near the end of it, what goes on is the guy who killed him, older man now, he takes the son of the guy he killed to the spot where he killed him. And he's digging around because they flew a plane and it landed on like a sandbar, and they tore the plane up and killed them all and all this mess. And so like, and the son, and the guy that killed him, he goes to the son and he's like, hey, this is where it happened basically. And he's like, and he hands him a spear and he's like, I want you to kill me right here. And he's like, I took your father's life. And the son literally goes to him. He's like, no man. He's like, my father gave it up for you. You know, it's like, I'm like, it's just, it's one of those, oh man, wow. Yeah. But the way he's talking about his father is like, the father that, you know, in Peterson terms is not necessarily monstrous, but clearly the value of that is. So I think the way I rationalized it when I was thinking of this podcast was like, there are times it's not like a cookie cutter, this is always the answer, right? I think in the terms of the Patriot, I think he did do what was right. I mean, he defended his family, and I don't think there was, in that particular case, although it's pretty fictional, excuse me, I don't think there was like a opportunity to like, hey, what if we just go talk to the British? And you know, maybe they'll be okay. Like I don't think, especially that guy, the evil guy in that movie.
Oh, terrible!
Oh my goodness! Like he's worse than these other people.
When he called him stupid boy. Oh God! And then he's like, "I'm gonna kill you.
I'm melting his little soldiers down and
kill you before this war is over."
I forget who does he shoot with? Because remember, he melts the little toy soldier down into.
Yeah, he shoots him in the heart, I think,
But he kills him with a bayonet.
Yeah, he kills. Yeah, he shoots him in the heart, and I guess he's still
okay.
alive. They're fighting. It was dramatic, dude. It's slow motion.
Yeah, the whole like rallying the troops and man.
I watched that movie at the beginning of COVID. I was just on a Mel Gibson. Like I watch almost every Mel Gibson.
A lot of his
movie.
characters, they just get to you.
Yeah.
Martin Riggs. My dog's named after Riggs. Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. I forgot about Lethal Weapon.
I thought about that.
Cool.
Lethal Weapon, dude. Oh.
Braveheart.
Definitely watch Braveheart.
Dude, he was like a blockbuster movie star back then. You know?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I watched What Women Want. Hilarious. Still holds up.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Still holds up.
True.
Man.
I forgot
it's
that's
so
him.
funny. So
Isn't
funny.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the Jim Carrey where he can't lie. That's a different one.
Yeah,
that's another good.
Liar.
That's another good dad movie.
That's
Liar,
true.
Liar.
Yeah, Liar. That's what it is.
Where he turns everything around. His son just wants a dad who's honest, and he wishes that, right? Isn't that the whole? Movie?
I think that's the premise of it.
Little
Yeah.
boy's like,
yeah.
oh, my dad breaks promises and stuff.
I just wanted to be telling. He has to tell the truth.
Wish your dad couldn't lie.
Which tells a lot about kind of fatherhood in general, right? It's like, I think the son in that one was, there's some, like, I forget what the promise was, but like he wasn't keeping his promises. And it's like, you know, part of, I think, being a man in general, but also being a father is your word has to be like unquestionable, right? You know, and I think that's a huge part. That's the whole premise of the movie.
Little boys want their dads to have integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And little girls too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we just want the people who are supposed to be taking care of us to take care of us.
Yeah. That was another one I had as a good dad was Bruce Willis in Armageddon, Harry Stamper.
Oh, yeah.
Not a great dad. Obviously, he's like divorced.
Oh, the best dads are not the great ones.
Well, yeah, but again, when I was
Jim Carrey dads.
when I was looking at it, it was aspects of it, and it was like,
well, and a lot of it is probably like their downfalls. A lot of people learn a lot from the mistakes that they make.
Yeah.
And so some of that is they create, or those characteristics are kind of like born from their mistakes.
Yeah. Another good one wouldn't necessarily be mistakes. You may have seen this movie either. Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I've seen it, but it's been a long time.
Great movie.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
I recommend it. Yep. The books are great too. Although usually I would say, you know, I'm a big proponent of being aware of, you know, reading classical literature. I think it's awesome. In this case, I would say just watch the movie. I think it's a great one.
It's wild.
But
classical literature.
No, for sure. Like, I think it's great to read
I don't even know what that is. What's classical literature? Is
classic literature? So I mean, it depends on
it's like
on
Romeo
your
and Juliet, or
I mean, Shakespeare is definitely a part.
Okay, so
the Swedish Shakespeare, but like, you know, especially anything prior to like 1900s.
Like,
I would say pre-World War
One. Like
pre-World War One.
All them. Okay.
After World War One, you see a huge
Is that Tolkien
shift.
or nah?
I mean, you could be Tolkien. I wouldn't call it classic literature. I mean, it's more fantasy kind of stuff. But I'm talking like Moby Dick, Swiss Family Robinson, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But James Fenimore Cooper wrote Last of the Mohicans. It's actually part of 5 books. But anyways, in the book, the reason it's called Last of the Mohicans is there's a father figure. I forget. It's like Jingaku or some Mohican name. I don't know. But he's the last chief, and him and his son, Uncas, are the only Mohicans left, right? And I think that all the pure-blooded women are gone. I think his wife died years ago, whatever. But I think what I liked about it, as from a father figure, is his sense of duty and his ability to hold on. It's like they know they're the last ones, but they don't withhold themselves from. They get into it with some other enemies of their friends and stuff like that. But they know they're the last ones. They're the only ones that carry on the name, and yet they're still like, just going. I mean, spoiler alert, the son dies, and so the chief, he's literally the last one, and he's sitting on with Daniel Day-Lewis at the end, and he talks about how the duty was in his blood, and he wasn't able to let that go. Like it had to be this way. And I think that's another thing I think about fatherhood today is we talk about a lot of kids, I want freedom and stuff like that, but it's like freedom comes with duty and responsibility. It's not just ability to go play Madden whenever you want. It's the ability to not be restrained or withheld from doing what is right. And I think that's a big part of when I think about what I want to be as a father is conveying that to my children. Is like, hey, we got stuff we got to do. It's not just a country club sitting around kind of deal.
Yeah, Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, definitely watch Last of the Mohicans. Great movie.
Okay. I'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where to watch it.
I don't either.
No idea.
Every streaming.
I don't know.
It's got to be somewhere, though.
Yeah,
It's
you can rent it for like $2.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like, you watch that and The Patriot, you're just ready to go. Man. Like,
The Patriot.
I'm going to have to go watch The Patriot.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember what grade it was, but there was a grade when we did, U.S. history, and I think we had to watch that movie, but...
Probably about 5th grade.
It's not really... It's a historical narrative. It's not like a historically... It's not like he was a historical figure or anything.
Yeah, I mean, he was based on some people, but
yeah.
It's kind of a mix of... Actually, I think he was somewhat based... Part of his story was... So, my... Little history fact here. My family is related to the General Sumter of the Revolutionary War. And so, that's where Fort Sumter was named after.
Oh, yeah, Fort Sumter.
Yeah. So, part of his story... of the Patriot, I was reading that my family got me this book about General Sumter, the real one, and it was talking about, so they pulled bits and pieces from the Swamp Fox and General Sumter and here and kind of put it together, which I think they did a great job. And I think the best parts, like you said, are the family parts, where he's talking to his sons, or he's talking to it's not his sister, is it? It's
his wife's sister. Dude.
Okay, yeah, I was like, that was kind of always awkward to me. That part, I was like, what's the relation here?
That's how it was back then,
Shoot, man, yeah, it's like, yeah, he's married, cousin, whatever,
cousin, yeah.
But
this is his wife's sister. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds right. That sounds right. But
I always felt weird that every Lethal Weapon movie there was a new love interest that he was crazy madly in love with.
Is that right? Oh, I don't remember
almost
that.
everyone.
Okay.
And especially the second one was
wait a second.
The second movie was a bummer, man, because she she got murdered. It's just and then the third one.
Lethal Weapon 2 is the best one, right? Isn't that the most highly?
I think so.
Viewed one.
I think so. It's the Rocky 3 of Lethal Weapons.
Rocky 3.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so because.
I will break
it's what the diplomatic immunity. That movie.
Yeah.
What I liked about it was Mel Gibson's almost dead at the end. It's very a downer ending where he's almost dead. He gets stabbed in the leg, he gets shot and all this.
He's John Wick, man.
And he literally does. And it's just such a downer ending. The girl he likes is dead, and it's oh, what do we do? And
guess you have to come back next time.
It was like the Empire Strikes Back of the series.
That's true. That's true.
And it's that downer ending.
Very sour note.
Oh yeah.
Luke with his hand chopped off, and what are they gonna do now? It was rough.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and then Rocky 3, I just watched it a few days ago.
Yeah.
Amazing. Great movie. Have you seen Rocky 3?
Yeah, but I get them all mixed up, so you'll have to remind me.
So he loses to Apollo Creed, the first one.
I thought that was the
then
one.
Then he beats him, second one.
The second one.
And then he goes to Russia for third one?
No.
Oh, that's 4.
The third, that's 4.
Third one,
Mr. T.
Yes.
Third one is at the height of his career. He's got 10 title defenses. and Mr. T is like calling him out.
Mr.
Rocky's like about to retire, and his trainer is like, "Hey, Rock, you really haven't been fighting like these top contenders. You're kind of we're padding your stats here a little bit as your champion."
Or Floyd Mayweather in this one.
Floyd Mayweather in this, yeah. And he's like, "What? I thought I was really good. What? You know, I can't do Stallone."
Yeah.
I like it.
But he's like about to retire. Mr. T comes out, big time call out, disrespects his wife, all kinds of stuff, and Rocky gets all mad.
Oh man!
But Rocky's a celebrity now. Rocky's he does like the training camp, and then he has like cameras everywhere, and he's like signing autographs. And he's like, "Hey, watch me punch his back. Yeah, take a picture, you know, all that kind of stuff." And then
it just doesn't work.
I don't know. Paulie's not the trainer. I don't know the trainer's name. I forget.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Old man's like, "No, don't do it. He's gonna kill you. Don't do it. These wrestlers are gonna kill you." And I forgot Hulk Hogan's in it. Hulk Hogan's in it. Dude, it's worth it just to watch the Hulk Hogan part in it. It's insane.
Dude,
the whole movie doesn't make sense.
The crazy thing to me is that like, how many Rocky movies? There's a lot of Rocky.
There's so
movies.
many.
Like
there's
6
so many.
or something.
There's at least 5, and then the Creeds.
Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa. And then there's Creed, and then there's Creed 2, and then there's Creed 3.
Creed
looks
3.
legit. Yeah. Creed 3 looks so
awesome,
legit.
but this is the first one that Stallone is not involved in at all. Like he's not acting.
He's in Creed 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see those.
He's not acting in it, and I don't even know if he. I think he might have even helped. Like, I don't know what his other roles were, but
said I'll cash that check.
He directed most of them. I think he directed 1, 2, 3, and 4. Didn't do 5. Didn't do.
He did Balboa, didn't he?
Maybe he did do Balboa. I don't know if he did that one. I don't remember.
I feel like he would be involved.
That's the only one, honestly, I haven't seen. That was, yeah. But
then it was Ryan Coogler on the Creeds, right? But is it Ryan Coogler again on Creed 3?
Yeah. No.
Oh no, it's Michael B. Jordan's
doing it.
Dude, that's what's wild to me is that Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, dude.
He's about to be in
Talk
Ant-Man.
about a monster, dude.
He's about to be in Ant-Man as Kang the Conqueror.
Kang the Conqueror.
Who's Jonathan Majors?
He's the guy in Creed 3 who plays the villain.
Yeah, he's playing the guy that Michael B. Jordan or Creed is gonna fight against in Creed 3.
Mm-hmm.
But those movies come out in back to, like, I think Ant-Man comes out in February and then Creed 3 comes out in March.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's like this guy's about to have like 2 blockbuster movies in a row.
Do it.
Yeah, Creed.
He hadn't been in a lot of stuff.
Is that the one from Loki?
Yeah, he was
at
in
the very
Loki.
end.
Yeah.
That guy. Okay.
That guy. He's awesome.
He's a boxer. He's gonna be a boxer.
Go watch the trailer.
Watch the trailer.
Yeah, he's gonna be a boxer.
He looks like
yeah.
Dude, Killmonger looked huge in Black Panther, right?
Look like Francis Ngannou.
But he looks
or something.
way bigger than Killmonger.
It looks so good.
Whoa,
go watch the trailer.
I'll have to take a look.
Jack, dude. Like he's on. I have. I don't know why, but I have a Men's Health. I think it was left here. I think my mother-in-law she sends me Men's Health, and he was on the issue. And dude, it's
because he's not fit in Loki, right? Well, maybe he's wearing robes or something.
Wearing a robe
okay. I guess you could hide
There's a movie on Netflix called The Harder They Fall. It's a great movie. It's a Western.
I like Westerns.
Yeah, it's really, really good. He's in.
Talk about some
He's the
manly
star.
men.
He's the star. Idris Elba plays the villain, but he's the star. Like he's amazing. He's a great actor, dude. Jonathan Majors.
Really good.
Jonathan Majors.
But yeah, I forget what we're talking. Oh, we're talking about Creed. So yeah, Creed, the third one, he gets whooped. And then him and Creed actually become friends, and Creed trains him and stuff. He trains him to beat Mr. T. Anyways, that movie's cool. They did a similar one for Creed 2. Like have you seen Creed 2?
I don't think I have. I think I only saw the first Creed.
We got to watch.
I haven't seen any of
them. I need to watch Creed 2 probably.
Creed 2 is great.
It's tough. I forget I was watching, I think it was another episode of Rogan where he was talking about the difficulty in boxing movies for making it seem real. You know what I'm saying?
Very difficult.
Like I've seen $1 Million Baby and stuff like that. It is tough. It's tough to be like, because a lot of boxing events, it's not all so dramatic. I think it's 15 rounds, but it's not. I mean, have you watched the Floyd Mayweather fight? It's not all like just knockouts and stuff. Like it's a lot of setup and things like that. You know, I think the same. There's a couple like MMA movies. I think those are easier to do because you can like grapple and stuff. Like Warrior.
Oh, Warrior was.
Oh, awesome. I like Warrior a lot.
breaks his shoulder or
I like
dislocates his
that
shoulder.
movie. It's like a few years old, but you guys remember that movie Southpaw? It was another boxing
Yeah.
movie.
Great boxing movie.
That
Southpaw.
one was cool with Jake Gyllenhaal,
Yep.
and he got pretty
Yep.
jacked for that too.
Yeah, that's the one Brogan was talking about. That was probably like the most legit boxing movie. Like,
The other thing I heard about that is, I guess when they wrote it originally, they were trying to get Eminem. No, which sounds crazy.
He would have
'cause
been
I'm
a terrible.
That does sound crazy. I don't know how good
like,
of an
why-
actor.
I'm glad he
Why-
passed on
I
that.
know. I'm like, why would they
Jeez.
get him? Because I felt like Jake Gyllenhaal killed it.
He's only in
on
one
that
movie, right?
Yeah.
Eminem, just his
Just 8 Mile,
story.
yeah.
So it's like he could
But
play it
when
very
you,
well.
When you
He's
watch
a-
the movie and you realize that's who they had like written it for, it kind of makes sense. Like the character.
You talking about 8 Mile?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about Southpaw.
Oh, Southpaw. Okay,
Yeah, I think the little girl's name is Haley.
really?
No, I don't know.
But he has like a
Wow,
daughter and stuff.
that's really
Yeah.
specific.
It makes sense that when you hear that, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense that they would have.
He was an up and coming rapper, and he decided he needed a box.
Well, Eminem's daughter's named Haley.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, I like Southpaw. I like Jake Gyllenhaal a lot.
Yeah.
too.
Rachel McAdams, yeah, I forget she was in it, right? She was in it? Rachel McAdams in Southpaw? She
I
gets
think
shot
she
at the
might
beginning.
be, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did I oh, I don't know. It was the first 10
all
minutes
these
she
movies
dies.
are like at least 5 or 6 years old at the youngest. So.
Yeah, I mean, what classic, amazing movie has come out in the last couple of years? Like,
Oh, dude. Doctor Strange. Multiverse of
He
Madness.
loves that one.
I
As a
love
classic?
it so much.
as a classic, I
He
mean, good
loves-
movie.
That's
So
his
good.
favorite movie of this phase, but I'm kind of
So,
like, it's kind of, to me,
we-
it's kind of mid. But
we were
that's-
talking about
Mid.
we were talking about movies
Sus.
like the new Marvel movies. Like there's TV shows, they're whatever.
Yeah.
That's
There's
what they
like
are.
one or
They're
two
whatever.
that are pretty good, but most of them are
But
kind of mad.
all the movies, like
Oh.
I guess the Love and Thunder was disappointing, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. It was still okay.
I think they're riding the
Still okay.
coattails of Chris Hemsworth, and it's kind of like, all right, we're kind of done with this character.
Well, but it's not really him. I think so. Ragnarok, they had like the same director on Ragnarok and Love and Thunder.
Taika Waititi. I
On
think.
Ragnarok, like he was really funny, but he like kept it kind of reined in to where it wasn't like so silly that it wasn't taken seriously.
Yeah, the fourth one was so silly. It's like, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, Love and Thunder, they took it like a little bit too far to where you
They
almost
wasted Christian Bale. How do you waste
I
Christian
don't know if
Bale?
they wasted it.
They call him
was
the God Slayer, the
he
God
was-
Killer,
he
whatever.
was the best
kills
part of the
one
movie.
God.
Well, but that was part of the problem. I think they made it so silly that his character almost didn't fit.
Yeah. We're so
And
scared
they
of this
should
guy
have
who
kept
killed
it-
one person. This is nuts.
Well, there's a
Like,
whole montage where he kills a bunch of them
Yeah.
in the
Is
movie.
there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he kills a bunch.
I thought he killed one, like
Well,
on
they
screen.
showed. Yeah, you're,
Okay.
you're right. I mean, but the Guardians of the Galaxy in it took me out of it a bit. I don't know. Either they could have had the Guardians in it
Screaming
more.
goats.
It was almost like they took it so far that it was like it was supposed to be an actual Marvel movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it was almost like you were watching a parody of a Marvel movie.
That's what. Yeah,
Honestly.
I thought it was closer to a parody of some Marvel stuff.
So it was
Yeah.
like they took it a bit too
Yeah.
far. Whereas, like, I mean, I like Taika Waititi, so
Yeah.
like some of that stuff I still laughed at, but I was kind of like,
Yeah.
probably pushed the envelope a bit
Yeah.
too much there.
Yeah. So that's your top movie of the last couple of years. I'm trying to think.
Multiverse of Mad. Like, you're saying classic movie.
I'm thinking like
Has there been any
we're
classics
we're
that have-
5 to 10 years from now, and you're thinking, man, remember that? You're gonna say Doctor Strange, whatever Madness. That's gonna
Like,
be the one you remember.
as far as Marvel. Like, I don't know. What
Not
do you-
necessarily
just
Marvel,
saying
just
in
in general.
general,
Like, because
yeah.
we talking
Great
about
movie.
like a great movie, like Remember the Titans. It's like you remember that, and it came out. When it came out, it came out a long time ago.
I don't know, man. I'm weird with movies.
I mean, probably the last classic is like I don't know if you can wrap it as
Endgame.
one, but Endgame and Infinity War,
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
that was a few years.
Those are
ago.
already 4 years ago, 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
because I'm trying to think of like movies you could rewatch and like in
Although
general. People
honestly,
are like,
pretty what would be pretty close for me is that Spider-Man. What's it called?
yeah, the
The
No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home.
No Way Home's great.
I think that was a nostalgia thing.
Yeah, but still.
But for those of us who have it,
the
yeah,
fact
I
that
agree.
it's one of those kind of movies, like it's the same way with like Avatar. I haven't seen the new Avatar yet, but
Yeah.
It's great.
Avatar as a story, it's cool, but it's not like the greatest story ever told.
No, it's not.
My buddy told me
But
that they're getting
when you-
sued by the other Avatar people. The
Oh, no way.
Airbender one.
Wow.
Oh,
Because
really?
James Cameron's like, yeah, the next episode, next movie, there's gonna be a fire nation, and so it's like we've got
No
the
way.
air, the water, and the fire, and it's like, Wait a second.
Oh man.
But anyways, the
I have no idea what that is.
the hype behind that one is that they're doing all this groundbreaking stuff that they've never done in movies before with all the mocap and all that.
That I agree.
So that's why that one's maybe historically looked upon as like this great movie.
I remember watching the first Avatar in theaters, like 3D, because there's a couple movies there's certain movies you really do need to watch in theater, I think, to get the full experience. Like I don't know if you watch Dune, but like I wish I would have saw it in theaters. But Dune was nuts.
Oh, Dune was cool.
Dune was cool.
What's another one? 1917. To me, at least.
Oh, you know what? That might be one.
Was like,
that might be the
this?
last greatest movie, 1917. Yeah. Me and my wife, we love that movie.
It's crazy.
We were sure it was going to win Best Picture. It didn't. Parasite won, but then we watched Parasite and we were like, oh yeah, Parasite's good too. Parasite's legit.
Yeah, but I remember 1917. Just like I do like kind of the unique aspect, like the continuous shot. I really like that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. That time period as well. I'm not sure if you saw All Quiet on the Western Front. That's another good movie.
It's on Netflix now again, right? They rebooted it.
So that's another great book. So that's right. Again, I told you pre World War One, but that is at World War One.
You're too much for me, dude. You don't watch movies with your kids. You read books.
So do you guys read books at all? Actively?
Not really.
So my wife
is a huge book reader.
Okay,
she's always reading books. She's got her Kindle. Like
Same.
She's
Becca's
like today.
Okay.
Today she finished a book and she's like, oh sweet. Right when I finished my book, the next one that I was checking out from the library came available. So she's like hyped on that stuff.
Okay. So like my wife, she puts books on my nightstand, and she'll be like, I know if I put it on this nightstand, he'll read it. And so I will. It'll just be like random, not necessarily random stuff, but like I've read some good parenting books. Right now I'm reading, it's called Unoffendable. It's by a Christian radio guy talking about like how we should literally not be angry at anything because we're called not to be angry at anything. But anyways, that's not the point. But I'd like to kind of, settle in for the night if I get a chance, just read a couple chapters.
Crack open a book, like a real book, like with pages, or like a Kindle.
I don't have a Kindle, so it's actual books, and it could be just random books. So I mean, lately it's been mostly parenting and like kind of personal development kind of stuff. I don't read too much fiction anymore. I'm trying to remember the last fiction book I read. I couldn't tell you. It's mostly nonfiction, but I love nonfiction stuff. Like I was putting together, like a list of books for my birthday kind of thing that I might want. And some of them, I'm not going to tell you what they are because they are so like, I'm like, oh my goodness, like what am I doing here? But,
I mean, there's a couple books. I'm like so auditory that most of the time I find myself
audiobooks?
Either listen to audiobooks or podcasts.
I love podcasts.
But one book that I'll recommend to anybody that I listen to the audiobook, it's called Tech-Wise Parenting. I don't know if you've heard
Tech-Wise Parenting? No, I haven't heard that.
And it's kind of
integration of technology into
honestly
parenting
like
style.
I haven't really followed it probably the best as an adult, but I'm trying to, like, in some ways. But their main points are like
Tech-Wise Parenting.
Like they tell you to like rearrange your whole house based on like, because they say a lot of the American home, like what the centerpiece of like your living space is your television.
Yep.
And that just promotes you to like always want to be entertained.
TV. Yep.
Instead of and their idea in the whole book, or the author's idea, I can't remember the author right now, but is to be like more geared toward being like a creative person, because it's like from a Christian mindset too.
Yeah.
So like as a creation of God, like we should want to create, and we should like. So they say your centerpiece should be like either
coloring book or something.
Either like
an easel.
No, they said either like a piano or like a guitar, or it could be like a table where you have crafts and stuff that you do.
Yeah.
But they say like to have that, and it's okay to have a TV, but that should be like a separate room where you go in there and you watch movies. And the other thing I mean, they talk about like trying not to have it like where you just sit by yourself. Like if you're gonna watch a movie or TV, like it should be like a family event.
Yeah.
So that it's like community based, and it's not just like I'm gonna go off and watch my own thing, because that promotes like. But there's a lot of other stuff too, but that's like one of their main points that I was kind of like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Check that out. I like that.
So yeah, Tech-Wise Parenting.
Tech-Wise Parenting.
I listened to the audio book of it, but it still counts, I guess. I don't really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think audio is good.
So I mean, I think that's the great thing about podcast formatting is you're able to get information, and you can probably pause it for chapters or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think that's perfect. I mean, I listen to podcasts when I'm driving, and it might be Focus on the Family podcast or some other. You mix it up, so it's depending on interest of the day, right?
Yeah.
But no, that's really good. Good recommendation. That's what I'm talking about. See, yeah. We can do audiobooks.
TechWise Family.
TechWise Family.
Audiobooks are cool with you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen to them, but
fine.
they're cool. If I was to read, I would probably do that. Listen to an audiobook.
You gonna read the audiobook? Yeah, okay.
Listen to an audiobook, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find it strange to not have it like paperback books? You're kind of like, nah.
Yeah, I'd rather have a Kindle.
Okay.
So I requested a Kindle for Christmas, thinking I'm really gonna read now.
Yeah.
I have a Kindle.
Do you got the Kindle?
No, they laughed at me. They're like, we're not wasting money on a Kindle.
That's funny.
I think I might have an extra one in my house.
Yeah, Chelsea has one.
Oh yeah.
Chelsea has one. She has like the one that looks like paper, kind of.
Yeah,
but it
it's
still
like
has the backlight on it.
Yeah.
But that's if I were to have one, that'd probably be. I'd rather do that than like a shiny screen.
I've got a lot of them downloaded like on my phone, like classic literature, because of the search features and stuff like that. I like that because there's often like quotes or different passages I'm looking for, and it's a lot easier than having the book. I'm like, I have no idea where that's at. Wow. So it's like, there's a lot of lists of really good books out there. I think in different. On the fiction side, I think it's good just because of like the cultural references. There's so many different things. Like, I'm not sure if you're ever out and people are talking about stuff and you're like when you're talking about movies and people, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so you feel like you're missing out on something. And it's like, I don't want my kids to be missing out.
You feel dumb like me on this podcast.
No. I mean, okay, if you didn't read Moby Dick, who cares? It's like,
I heard of it. I seen the movie with Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth is in that?
Yeah,
see, I didn't see the movie.
Spider-Man's in it too.
I didn't even know they made a movie of that.
Yeah, dude.
Which one? Which Spider-Man?
Dude, it's the best one. Tom Holland.
Oh, okay.
Tom Holland's in it, man.
What's it called though? It's
called
something in the sea. Into the sea, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Beyond the Sea.
I guess I gotta look that up. I didn't know they made a movie.
No.
Yeah, it's fairly
Heart
recent.
of the Sea.
Heart of the Sea.
I don't know.
It's something.
It's Moby
the
Dick.
Sea, yeah, something like
Moby
that.
Dick.
But yeah, I mean, the book. Again, if you don't want to read the whole thing, the abridged versions are great because you get the lessons without all the detail. Because like all these old authors, they just go and go and go, and you're like, dude, I get it. It's cold and dreary. Like you don't have to tell me for 20 pages. Like,
yeah.
So I say I read them, but sometimes I'm like, okay, we're skimming.
Dude,
here.
that's so funny because I remember when I was a kid, my older brother had like, I guess for Christmas, maybe even before I was born, I don't know. He got a bunch of classic books, the abridged versions.
The great abridged classics?
With
the big illustrations? Oh,
and
still
I
got
remember, and he was like...
Great.
And at one point, like, I inherited them, and in the 7th grade, we had to read, like, so many pages in order to, it was like reading
AR
reports.
tests?
No, it was like reading reports. We had to read so many pages and then, like, write reports on the books.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I would always read those because they were so easy to read, and, like, you could read them real quick, and they had a ton of pages.
Spark Notes, yeah.
Because they were,
basically
like the size of, like, cassette tape, maybe.
Yeah. You can get them like that, yeah.
And so, like, and the words were kind of big.
So you're just screaming through pages.
And I'd be like, they'd be like,
whale
I thought you were talking
there.
about the words were big, like complicated, longer words.
Large font.
The font
size was big, so it was like...
Small font books are terrible. We're like, what are we doing?
It was like a cheat, though, because the teacher would be like, dang, man, this kid is smart. He's reading, like...
You read the Swiss Family Robinson? It's like 1,000 pages. Like, how'd you do that?
I did read Goosebumps. I remember.
And they were always Goosebumps. And I read, like, the Wizard of Oz was one of them.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, The Call of the Wild. That was
Jack
one of
London.
them.
Great.
Is that the one with the white fang?
That's a different book. White Fang is a different book.
But I think they get confused.
Similar. I mean, it's a similar kind of genre, I would say.
Is Call of the Wild, that movie came out with the Harrison Ford? Is that what it was?
No, that's a different movie, but I don't know what it's called.
Again, similar genre. Did
you see
Snow Dog movie? Snow Dog's also
Cuba Gooding Jr.
The Willem Dafoe Balto movie. You ever see that on Disney?
The animated?
No, remember Balto?
We all know Balto.
Oh, Balto
was great.
Awesome.
This was Pogo. And so it's the real story of Balto.
Oh, okay, what it was based on.
It's like
gotcha.
It was his dog that did it, not Balto.
Not Balto. Yeah, I remember the real story. Balto.
Yeah. It's like Balto is fake. I didn't know that. I always thought Balto was legit.
Yeah.
Me too. They made it look legit with that little like statue at the end and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did, but it's
they're fooling
William
kids
Dafoe?
all over the place.
Willem Dafoe. Willem, yeah.
It's Willem Dafoe.
I think it is Willem. Yeah.
Or is it Will I Am?
Green Goblin is Willem Dafoe?
Green Goblin is Willem. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No way. Wow.
I wonder if that's what...
Fact
That's
check
one of
that.
those things when you're like... When he was born, did his parents just misspell it and then they just went with it? They're like, no, we meant to put Willem.
Well, I mean, that's a fairly common
Or
name in
did they-
Germany, I think. Right?
Oh, just Willem?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think that's a European.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's
Well,
alternate Willem.
my joke just...
Yeah.
it
It's
just
no,
flopped.
dude, I like that. Yeah.
Because I think, did you guys watch The Peripheral on Amazon? Great series.
What's that?
It's basically if you combine The Matrix with Ready Player One kind of style.
Okay.
So I definitely recommend it. But the guy, they changed his name. He was like a German, and he got adopted by an English family. And they changed his name from like, I forget what it used to be, but now it's like, it's something like Willem, something like that. I forget, Wilfred or something. I don't remember what it was.
Wilfred, yeah.
But no, interesting series. I think I'm really into like the whole like, social commentary. Like it's a great story on top, surface layer, but underneath you're like, huh.
Yeah.
If we were to get like, are you guys familiar with Neuralink?
A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I know what it is.
So that concept is in the show.
Okay.
Is the ability to plug in and kind of do the stuff, and it's like, what effect does this have on society? So I mean, I've there's a lot of shows
That's
like that.
like the show, I can't remember the name
Black
of it.
Mirror?
No, we binged it.
Yeah.
Chelsea
Whoa.
and I, like a while, not that long ago, but what is it called? It's like a comedy. It's on Amazon. And this guy basically he dies and
he
then
gets
he's
plugged
like uploads into like
I think it's called Upload. Yeah.
Upload.
I didn't watch it.
yeah.
But I'm familiar with
Upload. If you haven't watched
Yeah.
it, it's actually really good. It's a comedy, but like the concept is kind of cool. It is like, I mean, I think it's like explicit. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reason I like those, especially nowadays, is I feel like, especially going back to our children, is like that is the world that they're coming into. I mean, if you had told our parents that, hey, there's going to be this interconnectivity between, you're going to be able to call people and see them on a video, it would be like, no, what are you talking about? But here we are, and we're within a generation of Neuralink, of this like literal biotech connectivity that goes beyond anything we know, right? And it's like, are we equipped to raise our children in such a world? Like, I mean, in my view, it's like dealing with tech, tech parenting, like we talk, tech-wise parenting, is like, okay, let's limit social media use. Let's, control our, not focus on TV and stuff. And we might be missing the mark entirely where it's like, hey, don't plug your brain into the internet and be a zombie to the real world. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the kind of stuff that's going on. Like, I mean,
well, and then I think some of that is like people try to cast in the future. Like, I don't know if this is the case, but I feel like Facebook a couple years ago, they put all their eggs in this metaverse, right? But it seems like metaverse, to me, it seems like it might be a flash in the pan because I
have no idea.
I think it would.
oh yeah, they spent billions.
It's
Oh,
cool.
yeah, no, I
it's
know,
cool, like if you want a game, but if you're not like a gamer, like it's kind of lame.
Did you see that party they threw? I think it's like in the Netherlands, and they spent, I forget, like $50 million or something. And 6 people showed up.
Wow.
it was bad.
But the interesting thing
bad.
about that is like now there's a lot of rumors that like Apple's coming out with their headset supposedly.
Really,
soon.
like Oculus
Like
or
a-
whatever
is
those
that
are called.
But it's supposed to be augmented reality and not like
They play with that on the phones, right? Because you can do. I don't remember how high up on the iPhones you have to get, but you can do AR stuff.
yeah, like I mean, in a way, Pokemon Go's AR
Oh, that's what that means.
or OR.
It overlays AR, augmented
Yeah,
reality.
or
Augmented.
like I'm pretty sure that Amazon like furniture, some of it is
Okay.
OR, where you can
Okay.
like see it in the room,
Yes, yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
There are definitely home.
So that's
home
the
decor
thing
things
that
you
like
can do that.
that apparently Apple's trying to do. Which the cool part about that, like I've seen some concepts for stuff, is like it's basically like a lot of space saving stuff. So let's say you put your Apple glasses on. I mean,
Right.
these are all rumors. Nobody really knows yet until it comes out. Let's say you put your glasses
You
on.
heard it here first.
And like you have let's say you have an iMac, but like just the iMac Mini that doesn't have a screen.
Right.
And then you put your glasses on, and it looks like you have a screen there on your glasses.
Interesting.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
So like you don't have to take up the desk space and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And nobody sees it, which that's kind of weird, except you on your glasses.
But you could probably share it or link up with
Yeah.
people at that point.
Or
yeah.
like for instance, it might be like a heads up display. Like
Yep.
let's say you want a map using Google Maps that like connects to your phone, and then it shows you like a little like thumbnail in the corner that has like
Yeah.
your next turn or whatever.
Turn right in 100
So like
yards.
that kind of
That's
stuff.
crazy.
So it's like you're still seeing everything that's in the
Yeah.
real world.
That's fine to me.
Because I
don't find a problem with
but
that.
I think the problem with like the virtual reality stuff or AR, is that what they call it?
That's VR.
Or VR? Yeah, VR. That's like, it's cool if you're trying to play like a game or something, but eventually it's kind of like to me, they're trying to sell it like, oh yeah, all these corporations, they're going to do, instead of Zoom meetings, they're going to get in the metaverse.
They have built those spaces where you can have
I know
like
they
virtual
have,
businesses.
but is that really better than Zoom?
I don't know, dude. I like Zoom a lot.
I think for our generation, I think the answer is no, because that's not what we were raised on. But you're talking about raising a new generation up. And again, this is getting all the way down into preschools.
But the thing is,
I think you raise them up and they'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, if it gets good enough to where you actually see the person, but like right now, it's just like a little avatar and you're like floating around and it looks super dumb.
At least from what I've read about it, some people, though, a certain subset of the population, though, they like the avatar concept because they're not happy with their realistic self. And this offers them, hey, I want to be, the one I often hear is, I want to be a carrot. And so you can pop in and now you're a carrot. And, we like, oh, that's so silly. But it's like to certain people, that meets what they're looking for. Because, again, if you're raised, just imagine you're raised in a lifestyle that you're not happy with. And yet someone offers you this, hey, look, you can be who you want and work with the people you want. People take that. I mean,
maybe there are some people who are into it. But to me, at the level it's at right now, they push so many... I feel like they push so much of their money into that it might kill Facebook. Because like the last year...
They've already lost 50% of their stock value.
Because they put so much value into that concept and they didn't kind of like do it as a side project.
Which, to be fair, most tech stocks are already overblown and we're in a correction phase anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense.
But still, it's like they changed their name to Meta.
That I didn't get necessarily. 'Cause I feel like their core business with like the actual Facebook and... maybe the Instagram apps, that's core business, maybe.
They own, what is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp?
They own your data. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big business.
They own WhatsApp, too, which isn't, it's not that big here, right. But apparently in a lot of other countries.
Oh, WhatsApp's probably the number one app in the world.
They use it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, everybody...
Well, it's because the reason why it's interesting, I saw a thing about this not that long. Have you guys ever watched this is a YouTube channel I like, too. MKBHD, he does, like, reviews of...
I haven't seen that.
He does reviews of, like, a bunch of, like, Apple products, but like other phones too.
This is an iPhone.
Anyways, he does and he does like headphone reviews, but he did this one. He also does like in-depth like explanations of stuff. And he was explaining like, how on your iPhone, if you're texting other people with iPhone, you get like the blue bubbles, but then it's green if you don't.
Yes.
So when Apple did that, like they made iMessage. That's what that is.
They patented it.
So iMessage actually sends like more data. Than like
standard
regular
SMS.
text.
Yeah, it does.
So in other countries, like in America, like everybody just buys the iPhone, right?
Yeah, I think they
most
have market
people
share.
just buy the iPhone in America.
It's not the same overseas.
But in other countries, they don't want to do that, and
Android.
WhatsApp has like the ability to kind of do that same kind of thing that iMessage does. So instead of texting in a lot of other countries, they just download WhatsApp and they're like, screw this SMS app that's on here. I'll just do WhatsApp. So that's why WhatsApp is so big in other countries.
You know what the craziest one is? Have you ever heard of WeChat? Okay, so WeChat is the WhatsApp of China. And so I had to get it for work to kind of communicate with them. So WeChat it has the WhatsApp functionality, but they also incorporate your banking, your Uber, it's like a conglomerate of apps in one. And so you can almost live your entire life through there. So you can DoorDash, you can call an Uber, you can send messages, you can get on, it's just social media as well. It's got your financials. So if you want to do Apple Pay, you don't do Apple Pay, you just do WeChat. And you can, what's the other one? Venmo. You can send money back and forth. And so it's all contained in one. And what's kind of scary about it is the government has access to the data, of course, and they can do like social credit score things where it's like, hey, you haven't been a very good citizen of the People's Republic, so we're gonna dock you a little bit of money here. And so you can actually it's pretty crazy. And the reason I bring that up is a lot of the apps, or not apps I should say, a lot of the companies in the US are trying to go for that. But if you see like Elon Musk with Twitter, he's trying to combine, he's got business with PayPal, let's bring that in.
He did PayPal, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
He started PayPal.
So now he's got the social media, he's got the finance, he's looking for some of the other, so it's like
got the cars, he's got the boring underground tunneling.
Yeah,
he's got rockets.
Yep, he's got and that probably is his most valuable asset actually.
The rocket one
is the rocket one.
Wow,
which is kind of weird. You're like,
you would think it's much? I don't know,
but the price that it costs to get, like, I don't know if you understand quite the level of dependence we have on extra orbital satellites and stuff for everything we do, from communications to just everything. We take it for granted, that GPS. So I pull it up, boop. But the cost that it takes to maintain that is exorbitant, right? And so we've been paying, the United States have been paying like the Russians, the Europeans and stuff, they send stuff up there. So to have a privatized, not just privatized, but also an efficient privatized company to do that is worth incredible amounts. And where they're going from here is kind of the next step is to Mars, the asteroid belt, stuff like that. That's where I think the value is being scaled, crazy high. Is to be able to be like, oh, because if you look at like, extracting minerals and stuff, I don't know if you guys are into looking at how they get all these minerals on Earth right now, but you could do it. If you get to the asteroid belt, you could get way cheaper. You just got to get there and back, right? And so that's where a lot of this like value is coming into. So that's why SpaceX, because they can repeatedly do it. I mean, they land stuff on moving ships. Have you seen this? Like, oh my goodness. Like they can land two rockets on the same, or maybe not the same ship, but like in the same place, like out in the ocean, just perfectly landed. And like it's great. I had some training with a guy from was he Tesla or SpaceX? I forget. But they talk about like how efficient they roll out new things, like the Tesla cars. So they have I forget what it's called, but it's like factory mode while they're being built. And so they're automated. They drive themselves through. So like the first thing they build is like the drivetrain and everything. So the cars are just like driving to the next station and get the hood or whatever. They are updating it so often that in the middle of like from one car being built throughout like its life in the factory, it's changing stuff. Like, oh, we just changed it wouldn't be a muffler, but we changed the brakes or something like that. And it's a boom. But they don't have, I forget. They're like one of the highest quality controlled companies. Like they have like 0 defects or something. I don't know, it's not 0, but
it's
crazy high. So it's like the way that Elon and the team that he's built around all the engineers is just nutty, and they're just constant, modification. And that's kind of where the business is, the future of business is going. It's like these kind of older businesses, the Kodaks and the people that just kind of build stuff, they die off. I mean, you got to get on with the time and the way it just interconnect. And that's why I think he's also pushing the whole Neuralink and being able to plug your brain in so we can just talk instantly, and so which it's nutty to me.
Yeah, dude. Well, for now, I think we got the podcast and we got phones and a little bit of FaceTime action. Yeah, it's good enough for me for now. I don't know about this Neuralink stuff. It's all complicated.
I think for us, it's probably not. When there's no way I'm plugging in.
I feel old saying that. Like, I feel like a grandfather.
Yeah, but it's like, you think about your kids, you're like, this might be a conversation I have to have with my children. Like, hey, Dad, can I get this Neuralink thing? Be like,
let me try it out first. That's what I would say. Like, hey,
is that really?
Yeah,
you do it?
Let me try it out first for a few weeks or whatever.
Oh, man. Look at you go.
I'd do that.
There's no way. I'd be like...
I put my brain in... I don't know. You plug it into a brain, it's like a microchip or what?
Well, and the other weird thing about it is, like, I've heard there's differing, like, viewpoints on the whole thing, too. Because some of it is, like, they say, and I don't know, like, I'm not like a scientist.
You're an expert on this?
So I don't know.
I am a scientist, just not on Neuralink.
Yeah.
Oh, you are a scientist.
But there's, like,
crazy.
There's things they say, like, apparently it's supposed to, there's rumors that, like, some of it should, because your brain is like a computer,
Right, it's a biocomputer.
So they're saying that, like, maybe you can program certain cures for diseases or whatnot.
Yeah, so the original pitch is for people who can't see to actually override their brain and be able to, like, now you can see. Or
that's pretty dope, to be honest.
What if it's like programming good habits?
Well, that's the next kind of line is like, your brain, because it's a chemical, like, you could literally force it. It's hackable, and that's kind of the question. Is like, well, how much control over the brain does it get?
This will make you, like, not eat, be more prone to eat healthy foods and exercise and get rest and
that's, to me, where you got to be really cautious about this stuff, because, like, it's great to be able to see, be able to walk if you're paralyzed, if you have spinal injuries, and be able to repair that. That's great, but it's like,
can it make you smart?
Where's the line? Where do you draw the line?
Make you want to read.
And that's well, see, that's another discussion people are having, is like, if you withhold it from yourself or your children, are you putting them at a disadvantage to the children who are connecting to this? And it's almost like becoming people who refuse to use the internet, Because it's like Amish? Yeah, kind of. It's like, are you able to compete? Or are they able to compete, shall I say?
Well, the other crazy thing, though, is just like, think of what it could ruin though, because it's like if you have this
Everything.
Neuralink, what's like here's what I'm thinking. Like, are they gonna be like, all right, Major League Baseball's banning Neuralink because like if people
you
have
can
it,
instantly analyze the pitch coming
and you
in.
can like just you can
it
like
controls your
you
phone.
can like probably slow things down in
Yeah,
your brain
exactly.
to where you can see like the grip on the ball and be like, oh yeah, he's throwing this pitch.
Yeah.
And I can tell from his arm angle right here that's probably gonna be around this part of the plate.
You just have to create another division above MLB where it's like, hey, you know what? Use PEDs, use Neuralink, use whatever you got.
but if everybody's using it, like,
It'll be
who's
awesome.
faster? Because then whose Neuralink is faster? You know, it's like
Who got the best computer?
But I almost feel like it would just be like home run every time.
That'd be cool. It'll be like basketball scores.
Yeah, but
then eventually you
117
push
to 90.
you'd push the field out, right? And then it's like I feel like you would change the game a little bit, or maybe you make the balls.
I think you would have
heavier,
to ban
lighter.
it. You'd have to ban it.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Or is there ways where maybe you don't ban it all the way, but somehow they can analyze your
block
Neuralink,
Neuralink,
and you can only use like certain parts of it. Like you can use the parts that make you work out better or something, but maybe not necessarily like in-game stuff.
And kind of, because people say, oh, it's just connected to the internet. That's not a big deal. I'm not sure if you've seen this stuff. I get into this stuff, but have you seen the thing called Chat GPT? Have you seen
Oh, man, that is wild.
Have you seen this?
Yes.
Have you tried it?
ChatGPT.
It's the end of homework, as you know it. You would have loved it.
It's an AI where you're like,
it's an AI chatbot, right? And it's been
like write a paper about arguing like the advantages of DoorDash or something, and it will write you a paper.
It'd be like, hey, I need a 3-paragraph essay of at least 1,000 words describing the efficacy of DoorDash on local businesses or something like that, and it just spits it. And it's not like gibberish if you prompt it right. I haven't used it personally, but it's like you have to prompt it in certain ways. And
I've listened to some podcasts where they like ask it to do things, and they'll read it back.
Write songs. They have AI musicians now that can create. They say, hey, give me a top 30 pop country.
More than even that. Like I've heard one where they're like,
boom.
They're like, write a symphony like in the same style as Brahms.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And it'll write one. Yeah.
Brahms.
Who's Brahms?
He's just
kind of a mid-century. Is it romantic? Is he romantic? I don't remember exactly when he fits into.
Dude, that reminds me.
I should know this because I've got a degree in
the
music, but it's been a while since.
I'm going to Oklahoma this weekend, and they got Brahms over there. Ice cream.
Brahms ice cream, but dude,
it's in Oklahoma.
I got on the Chat GPT like website, but I haven't because I wanted to check it out because it's wild. Like
it is wild.
You can even
AI art, but yeah, they talk about like again going back to
the craziest
having
thing is it uses the entire internet. So
it was trained without the internet. So what they did is they basically fed it huge stockpiles of data. I think it may have in different versions. I'm not familiar with the latest version. It does have access to the internet, but it was trained like without it.
So one of the podcasts I listen to sometimes.
You gotta check this out, man.
I don't know if you guys
crazy.
listen to it, but there's a podcast I listen to pretty often called it's from Relevant Magazine. It's like the Relevant podcast. So they have like different guests, or I mean, reoccurring like hosts, but it's like 4 people. And they're like sort of famous. Like one of them is the guy who started the magazine.
Okay.
But there's also, I don't know if you guys know who Jamie Ivey is. She's like, she's an author, but her husband is like the worship pastor at Austin Stone.
Oh,
so she's on the podcast.
Okay.
And they were talking about Chat GPT, and they were like, she said her and her husband were sitting down, and they asked it to write a bio for Jamie Ivey, and it knew like all of her books that she had written. And all that, and she was like, it was actually a pretty good bio.
Yeah, so you can do some like write me an article in the style of the New York Times about anything, and it analyzes their writing styles.
Or the thing they were doing on the show is they were like, write a dating profile for this person
to attract these type of people, and be like, boop. But what they're talking about, especially with regards to children, is how it disrupts schooling, basically.
Yeah,
so
like makes you not think.
Well, now people are trying to figure out how to write a program that can tell if it was written by ChatGPT
Yeah,
or not.
and it's so tough to do that because it's like it's based on not the summation of human knowledge, but basically like it's got access to a lot of.
So you got a computer program that like does your homework for you.
Yeah.
But then that's gonna make you more dumb. But then you need a computer to make you more smart. To offset it.
There is an argument to that that's like, hey, is it even worth? Because I think this is a fair question. Is it even worth teaching kids dates, facts, stuff, right? Versus being able to learn where to get that, how to get that, and what to do with it. Yeah. There's a balance to be struck there. Because I think you probably said that in total jest, but I mean...
Total jest.
I don't know if there's that much value of you being able to know all the presidents and their wives, versus being able to know maybe the important ones. What do we learn from them? Stuff like that. And again, going back to teaching children, it's like, okay, I mean, at the beginning, okay, we're gonna learn our ABCs because I'm not gonna have you searching it on the computer. That doesn't make any sense. But at a certain point, there's gotta be, in my view at least, I think there's a crossover where it's like it's no longer valuable to teach you to memorize facts. You just need to know where to find them. It used to be, I don't know for you guys, but like when kind of growing up, Wikipedia was like, oh, you can't use Wikipedia. And now it's like, actually, it's kind of a good start. You can kind of maybe not trust it fully.
I remember very vividly, like when I was a kid, you were not allowed to look for things on the internet, like for any kind of sources. You had to use the library book.
Oh,
remember this? Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
You might be I'm
a little bit younger, I guess.
You're a little bit younger.
I don't remember this. Dude, I don't think. I don't.
There was like this one year. I think it might have been like maybe high school.
So you had to go to the library?
You had to go to the library to get a book if you wanted writing a research paper. It had to be from the library.
Interesting.
Eventually, they're like, they're just cite your sources on an online thing.
Yeah.
But I do remember them saying you can't use Wikipedia as a source.
I could have been did this, Like I didn't want to get all those.
You would have had to know how to use the internet, and I think that's again going back to our teach our children is you have to know the methodology more than the substance of it. It's like it doesn't do you any good to know the bio of Jamie Ivey, right? It's like I just know where to look it up if I need to find her. If I'm a friend of Jamie Ivey's, then sure I'll know it, but there's no need right now. So maybe you don't need to read classic literature. Just know where to find the Spark Notes.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Or like you were to bring it back around to the YouTube thing. A lot of things you can be like where to find the YouTube breakdown of this whatever book.
Yeah, who knows it.
Yeah.
Because we can't. No one can know everything, be an expert in everything. We just don't have the time.
That's like I don't know if you've heard of it, but like people will have. I think I've seen somebody wear the shirt like YouTube mechanic.
No. Is that
like that's what I am pretty like anytime that something happens with my car.
Oh, okay.
You just Google it.
Yes,
I mean, you
YouTube
it.
I'm a YouTube DIYer.
You figure out how to do it.
I'm a YouTube DIYer for sure.
And then you just fix it yourself because like somebody on YouTube has done it before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's the cool thing about the internet. Like
there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
YouTube's got it.
It's almost like I had a friend that used to quote like his uncle. I'll shout him out, Justin Bowers, if you're listening. I think it was your uncle or maybe your grandpa. I don't know.
Drop a comment, Justin.
He would always say, if it ain't at Walmart, you probably don't need it.
Sound wisdom.
But it makes me think of that because like Walmart, it doesn't really have everything, but it has a lot of stuff. And like I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you might have thought like.
Especially Walmart Plus.
You have everything that you need at Walmart. And it's like the same way with the internet is like expounded upon that massively. But it's like, if you need to know something, it's probably on the internet.
Yeah, I'll say, like, in my line of work at least, not all the answers are on the internet, but at least clues to where to look are kind of there. So in general, I fully agree. Like, if you can find, most things you need are going to be on the internet. Almost explicitly, which is really nice, especially for like stuff around the house or parenting things. Like, hey, my child is doing this, and there's like 10 people.
Sometimes
on the
it's bad though because there's like 15 different opinions. So you're like, you're like,
it's a lot of noise.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of the discretion and wisdom you have to be able to kind of sift.
Well,
through
and
that.
here I'll tell a story of something recently. So last Wednesday I had I'll rewind.
2 stories.
Last Wednesday, I'll start with this.
Like, man, I'm trying to go to bed.
Last Wednesday, I had last story of the podcast, and then we'll wrap it up. But last Wednesday, I went to a foot doctor because I had an ingrown toenail.
Oh man,
those are the worst.
And so I had my toenail repaired.
Get the phenol out.
But the crazy thing about it is, like it started like back in, like at Thanksgiving probably is when it started hurting me.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I'm Googling this to figure out like how to remedy my own ingrown toenail.
It says you are dead.
Did you see like Pimple Popper?
No, I didn't watch videos.
Dr. Pimple Popper,
like,
how do you remove an ingrown toenail?
No, I wasn't trying to remove it. I wasn't trying to remove it. I was just trying to see if because it wasn't that bad. I was trying to like treat it to like reverse it.
Yeah.
So I started doing all that stuff, right? Like. And then eventually, like, my shoes started hurting really bad on it. Because one of the things it said is, like, don't trim the toenail. Like, just let it grow out.
Okay.
Because, like, that's when you trim it, that's just going to make it worse.
Oh, okay.
But it started hurting, like, my toenails pushing against my shoes. So I'm like, man, it hurts too bad. I'm just going to trim the toenail.
Yeah.
Wrong decision. So I trim the toenail. It starts to get worse, and it like starts looking worse and stuff too. And so then like I make it through Christmas, but I think I called like right after Christmas, this foot doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, we can't get you in until like January 11th. So
Which would have been
that was a few days ago.
Wednesday, yeah.
It was last Wednesday. So I'm like, dang man. So what do I do? They're like, well, we can't really tell you what to do until we look at it. I'm like, well, seriously? Like, I'm pretty sure it's infected. And I'm like, I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing because it's not getting worse or anything. It's about the same. So I just had to like limp it along for a while. It was pretty painful, but man, they got in there. They
sliced it up.
Yeah, they did a good job though. It looks pretty like normal. So yeah, and it feels good now too.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets bad, they do
that's a lesson.
They burn it off.
No, the crazy thing is, he told me what he's gonna do. I didn't watch him because I'm like, I'm not watching this like horror movie taking place.
Were you on under the?
No, they just numb your toe.
They give you a shot right in the side of your toe.
Yeah, so they put like a screen between me and my toe because I didn't really want to watch it. But I did ask him like what they're gonna do. Like a C-section
screen.
So they cut a sliver off of the toenail, like where the bed is, and they actually burn the
it's a phenol
the
solution
at the bottom, so it won't grow back in that part. But man, they put it together back again where it's like my toenail looks a little bit smaller, but it doesn't look that bad. But I'm glad that the moral of the story.
I love this story. Okay, here we go.
Moral of the story is, I went to the internet thinking I could fix my own problem and that's what a lot of people do. Like, they think because they read on the internet they're the expert. When I probably in the beginning should have just gone to the foot doctor anyways, and I would have saved myself a lot of like pain.
The big SAT word for that is ultracrepidarianism. Is going outside of your lane.
Yeah, so don't be an internet expert and think you know more than the real experts.
Yeah, you might lose a toe.
Yeah, I didn't lose a toe, but I lost part of a toenail.
Alright, guys.
Oh, man.
This has been DadPod.
This has been.
I appreciate you coming.
This went about exactly how I thought
Rene
it would
got a little tickled.
Oh man, we're gonna have some fun rewatching this one.
Yeah. Whew. Well, thank you, Matt.
Absolutely, thank you. No, I really appreciate it. I just want to say, I'm really happy for you guys to be doing this. I think this is a great thing. I think men and fathers in general don't get the opportunity enough to kind of discuss this on this kind of level, and so I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity and wish you the best going forward.
Yeah,
thanks, Matt.
Thanks for joining us.